And I'm going to talk about Alex Murdaugh here in the beginning, but I was reading Ron DeSantis's book, and right before I went on the air, I'm only on page 19, and I read something very troubling in this book that is very concerning about Ron DeSantis. I'm going to share that in a little bit on the air. I discovered something about Ron DeSantis that I did not know and I'm not crazy about. So, yeah. Any guesses as to what it might be before I get to it? I'm going to start talking about Alex Murdaugh, though. But after the first break, I'm going to get into what I discovered in the DeSantis book. Yeah, I am not happy. I should not have started reading that book before the show. I was set up a little early. Here we go. It's time. All right. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 46 years on the radio this year, The Steve Kane Show. It is Friday morning. We've got a lot to talk about on the program today. And of course, Friday is always open phones on the program. We call it Open MAGA Mike Friday. Any and everything you have on your mind is fair game on Friday's show. Our number toll-free, 1-888-GO-KANE-1. I'm going to start the program talking about the Alex Murdaugh verdict. But after the first break, I did something before the show that I don't know if it was a good idea for me to have done. I was running a little early today, and I had gotten in the mail yesterday Ron DeSantis's book that just came out yesterday, The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival. And I was set up here a little early before I went on, and I started reading Ron DeSantis's book. I'm only on page 19, and I discovered something about Ron DeSantis in this book that is very concerning to me, and I'm going to share it with you after the first break. And when I do, please call and tell me that I am wrong, because I don't want to be right about what I'm feeling and thinking right now. In fact, I'm waiting till after the first break so I can process it a little bit in my mind before I talk about it, because sirens went off. The red alert sign went off as I'm reading the first chapter of Ron DeSantis's book. We'll get to that in a bit. But I want to talk about this Alex Murdaugh verdict, and your calls are welcome on the Alex Murdaugh verdict as well. Now, I've been following this case, okay? I've been following this case, and obviously the guy's a low-life scumbag. He's an attorney, okay? Attorneys, except, of course, for attorney Barry Siegel and any other attorneys that are advertising their great services on our radio stations. All the other attorneys are lying lowlives, okay? You guys know what I mean. Come on, Yeah, and a lot of attorneys have personal issues like Alex Murdaugh because they live their lives around criminals and scummy people, and they pick that up. It's like a lot of times, I experienced this a lot when my daughter was in school. When my daughter was in school, elementary through high school, some of the teachers, even veteran teachers with 30 years of experience, were so juvenile. And I realized it's because they hang around kids their whole life and they never grow up. The same thing goes for college professors. College professors, oh yeah, they got all the degrees and everything, but they're naive and stupid because they've never left school, been around children all their lives. And a lot of lawyers spend their lives around scumbags and criminals and people trying to skirt the law and all kinds of things. So that seeps into their mind. That's one of the reasons you got a lot of problems with police officers. Police officers, when they have trouble, they live their life around criminals, and they get to little, things happen. So yeah, Alex Murdaugh, with beyond any reasonable doubt, is a liar. Okay, he's a liar and a thief, and Alex Murdaugh is also a drug addict. Shocker, he's an attorney. Wow, breaking news. Now, so far as guilt, I know the jury found him guilty in like record time, 3 hours. I know that they found him guilty. I am here to tell you that if I were on that jury, I would have voted not guilty. And I'll share, you're welcome to call me about this. And I'll tell you why. I'm not saying he didn't do it. He probably did. But there is, in my mind, some reasonable doubt. And, I watch a lot of ID. So this whole thing about how he lied about not being at the kennel, and that's what they're saying really did him in. If you watch ID and a wife turns up dead, the cops focus in on the husband right away and they're done. That's it. And and they get focused on someone and they don't look at anyone else. You ever watch ID or Dateline? It's chilling. Yes, he probably did it, but beyond a reasonable doubt, the thing about killing the wife, people kill their spouses all of the time. But their son, like that's a whole nother thing. And there's a couple of things that came up in the case, in the trial of Alex Murdaugh, that give me some reasonable doubt. Number one, the story they had in the defense, part of their defense was a revenge killing for the boat accident where his son got the girl killed. This is South Carolina, people. I know Florida is pretty cosmopolitan now, with all these Yankees moving down here. I'm a transplanted Yankee myself, but I've been down here so long. But, when I first came to Florida, the good old boys ran the state. And so I know what it's like living around good old boys. My father and grandfather, good old boys. I know what that's like. And, something like that happens, that boating accident in a southern place like South Carolina. You got Southerners, good old boys could easily get together and do something like that for justice to be done for the girl who was killed in the boating accident. So I think that was a reasonable story for the defense to promote. A couple other things. The fact that there were 2 rifles used, a different one for each victim. This guy is so doped up on his pills. I don't think he was thinking clearly enough. Well, if I use 2 guns, it'll throw a theory out there that there were 2 shooters, and that'll help me go free. I don't think he was clear-minded enough to think that way. And the fact that there were 2 long guns, not if it were pistols, it'd be different, but 2 long guns, that's very unusual and very strange. And there was no DNA evidence or anything on him that they found. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's so doped up. He's never not high. He's no DNA evidence. The 2 rifles, he probably did it, but it looks like, to me, a little reasonable doubt there. And for me to be on a jury and send someone to prison for the rest of their life, I need to know 150%. I know the greatest of a whole is 100, but I really need to be extra super sure that the guy did it. And I think there's a little bit of reasonable doubt. And, even if he were acquitted, they would have had a hung jury with me. I would have gone not guilty. I'm telling you that right now, I would have gone not guilty. Oh, man. Yeah, I'm telling you, I would have gone not guilty. I'd like to know what you think about that, by the way. Do you think there was reasonable doubt in the Alex Murdaugh case? Would you have gone not guilty? I just can't believe a guy who's so stoned out of his mind that his whole life revolves around the drugs that there'd be no evidence. that was concrete. Circumstantial is not enough for me. Okay, that's just it. You know, if it was just the wife, maybe, but the son with all these other things, no, I don't think so. And so far as him lying about being at the kennel, which was the scene of the crime, like I said, you watch ID, they got the husband in the interrogation room. He's done. And if he would have admitted that he was there, right? You know what they would be saying today, all these pundits and legal experts like Judge Janine and all the rest? They say, well, he put himself at the scene of the crime by admitting he was at the kennel. Oh, yeah. That's what did him in when he put himself at the scene of the crime. So, no, I think there's some reasonable doubt there. Maybe not enough for most, but enough for me. All right, now we're going to take our first break. If you're on hold, stand by. And coming up, I'm going to share what I read in the first chapter of Ron DeSantis's book that just came out yesterday that has set off alarms that is disturbing to me, that I'm very troubled about, that I'm terrified about. And I'm going to share that with you and ask you to comment on that as well. But it is open phones on Friday, open MAGA Mike Friday. Anything and everything you have on your mind is fair game at 1-888-GO Kane 1-888-465-2631. Back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
Yeah. Well, he's probably guilty. I agree with that, but enough to, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. But hey, listen. I'm not always right. Most of the time I am. Welcome, everyone. If you're on hold, hang in there. Oh, man. Oh, boy, oh, boy. Make sure you like the video, guys. I just don't know how someone who's so stoned can commit a double homicide and not leave a whole bunch of evidence all over the place. You know, this guy, he's like a Hunter Biden type, when it comes to drugs. You think Hunter Biden would do something like this and not leave evidence all over the place? Oh, man. No, I'm not. I'm very serious about what I read in the DeSantis book that we got to talk about. It is. I'm going to take a couple of calls here, and then we'll get into that. Oh yeah, this is. It might, maybe it's nothing, but sirens went off in my brain, in my mind, and I'm only on page 19. Yeah, I know it's. Well, I'm only on page 19, and I did skip the introduction. Does anyone read the introduction to books? I never read the introduction. I always skip the introduction and go right to chapter 1. I just had a couple minutes before I went on the air and started reading it. I never read book introductions. Do you guys read book introductions? Let me shut the door here. Yeah. Books really should not have introductions.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show with Brian.
All right. Welcome back, one and all. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. It is Friday. Very exciting. This week flew by. If you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk about Friendly Tire in Margate. You know, I've been a customer of Friendly Tire in Margate for, I don't know, close to 20 years. And I found them out of necessity. I'd always wanted a four-wheel drive Jeep Wrangler, and I got one. And it had the big oversized four-wheel drive tires. Not that I was going to go mudding or anything, but I liked them and it was cool until I needed new tires. Oh my goodness. And I went searching. When I saw how much the tires cost, I realized why I bought it used, the Wrangler. I knew why I got such a good deal on it, because the tires were so expensive. And I called around, and I finally found Friendly Tire in Margate, where he has the lowest prices on new tires that you will find anywhere. And he has thousands of used tires in stock too. They're very good used tires. I bought new and used tires there. But over the last month and a half, I have bought 4 new tires for my car, 4 new tires for my wife's car, and she has run flats, which are, oh boy, and 4 new tires for my daughter's car before she moved to California, and I shipped her the car. I wanted her to have brand new tires, got her Firestone tires over there. And Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire, his prices are so low. Even though I bought 3 sets of new tires in the last month, 6 weeks, I'm not even sweating it. You know, it used to be I would ride on tires until the belts were showing, until I found Friendly Tire in Margate. And we have listeners that drive over an hour each way to get tires at Friendly Tire in Margate because the prices are so low. We've had listeners from Orlando come down. We've had listeners from our cruises that drive to Florida for their cruises and buy tires before they head back up north for their cars at Friendly Tire. We've had listeners from New York that are visiting and vacationing in Florida and not only get new tires at Friendly Tire in Margate, they buy a second set to take back home and keep in the garage because the prices are that low. And I know, it's absolutely amazing. Listen, now you can call Friendly Mike at Friendly Tire in Margate and get a quote right over the phone, okay? And the price he gives you is out the door and on the road. There were no added charges. He doesn't charge you to mount the tire, to balance the tire, or even dispose of your old tires, okay? So the price Friendly Mike gives you over the phone is out the door and on the road. His number, 954-977-9445. 954-977-9445. That's 954-977-9445. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I watched the whole trial. I was into it. The judge was so biased, it was ridiculous.
It seems to me, when I was watching the trial, it seems in South Carolina there are no black people except for public servants, the cops, the bailiffs, and the judge. Everyone else is white.
Yeah, well, he was so slanted towards the prosecution. There was so much reasonable doubt there. They brought in, that trial was more about him stealing all the money than murdering his family.
Breaking news: a lawyer is a liar. I get. Come on, yeah.
Stole all sorts of money. I mean, big time money. He was a dirtbag. Hey, he was a liberal Republican.
Well, liberal. Well, there you go. Yeah. Well, maybe he should have been convicted for. Well, listen. My guess would be that if Murdaugh was acquitted yesterday, which I would have gone not guilty, no doubt, and I guess you would too. He had so many other crimes with all of his thievery and everything from the lawyers and clients. Well, what I mean is he wouldn't have gone free. He would have been brought up on white collar crimes and done some time for that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I believe he loved his son so much. I really do. I don't think any father would blow his son's head off. Now, can I change the subject?
Well, it is open phones. It is open phones, so we'll see.
He's a talk show host, Brian Craig.
Oh, here we go.
No, I'm not going to attack you today. Believe me, I think Steve taught you very well. I'm going to tell you your technique, though, and you're going to probably agree with me. You deflect. when you're put on the spot and you don't want to answer a question, you deflect and attack the other person, and that's Steve did very well with that.
No, I don't do that. But yeah, I get. What why do you feel attacked? Because when you were.
You don't attack. You don't attack. You deflect. That's a different one.
No, I exposed the hypocrisy of the caller. Like the other day when are you talking about our exchange when you were talking to me about Disney and I pointed out about your phone being made with Chinese slave labor?
Well, no, the guy. Yeah, well, that's one call, but the guy after you went right at him. You never answered the questions. The question was a simple question: why do you, as a host, go there and you right off the bat, you don't really know my life. You on the phone with me, you were saying I sit on the couch and everything, and then you started throwing little things, and you even on YouTube said I would get angry. I don't get angry with you. This is a show, but I know you do deflect. I remember you when you were very shy. I remember when we went to personal appearances, you didn't want to talk to anybody. You were in a corner. You let Steve handle everything. You just were that, and you've come out of a big major show. And
Richie, you've been following me since I was like a teenager on the radio. Now I'm going to be 52 next month. So
But you are a great talk show host, and I'm letting you know that I'm not attacking you, but I do know your technique is deflection. When you don't want
it's not deflections. It's not deflections. And so far as all the callers whining about how they're treated, you guys call me. I don't call you, and you guys know what I'm all about and what I'm like. So if you feel abused, I mean, you're calling me at work. I'm not calling you. If I was randomly calling you and interrogating you and things like that, that'd be one thing. But you guys call me.
Yeah, but it's the personal attacks that get under my skin. If you beat me.
You guys personally attack me all the time. You just don't realize it.
I don't. How would you like if I got on there? Because I'm a tall guy. How would you like if I got on there and started calling you midget and all sorts of and the crazy stuff? I mean, I don't do that. I skip to. I try.
What did I say to you? What is this call really about? What did I say to you that really burns you? That you're holding on to something with? I said something to you that I said something to you that has hit close to home, and that's what this is about. I can tell.
No, that I don't leave the house, and you got that true. I go all over the place. I don't wear masks. I'm in Publix. I go everywhere.
In Publix, okay.
The reason. No, not just Publix. I was in Orlando the day you made that statement.
Okay.
But I do go everywhere. And
okay.
I'm on my couch 24/7. But the thing is that has nothing to do with it. The thing is that it was a deflection on the call because you never answered the question.
No, I exposed your hypocrisy. You were calling me a hypocrite, and you were calling me a hypocrite, but you yourself are a hypocrite by your own standard that you're holding me accountable to. That's what I was. Hey, Richie, I got to run for the break, but good try. Yeah, let me give you a word of advice, okay, Richie and all the rest. Believe it or not, once or twice, I felt embarrassed by things that have happened on the radio. Hasn't happened in a while. Happened once or twice, and this is a good rule of thumb. When you do something stupid, when you have done something that you're humiliated about and everything, forget about it, move on, and don't reference it again. People will forget. All right? People will forget. The very next day, most likely. All right, I'm late for the break. We'll be back.
Making morning radio great again. It's the Steve Kane
Oh, my
Show.
goodness. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Believe me. It wasn't about all those other things. It was about, he didn't like, I'm going to get to the book, Christine. I'm going to take one or two more calls because some of these people have been holding on for like half an hour. So, and I've barely been on 30. I haven't even been on 30 minutes yet. Well, there's something I read in this book that is really troubling to me about Ron DeSantis. You know, I'll get to it. By the way, I have been hearing from so many people that are radio listeners and from YouTube and podcast listeners about their MyPillow 2.0s. People love the MyPillow 2.0. I've been hearing from people like nonstop. It's got the cooling technology in it, and it's buy one, get one free at mypillow.com with my promo code Kane, Kane. And remember, when you go to mypillow.com and you use my promo code Kane at checkout, Kane, you can take advantage of all the specials you see at mypillow.com, no matter what they say, okay? But you're supporting all of my content, my YouTube channel, the radio show, my podcast with my wife, Kathy. You're supporting all of my content when you use my promo code Kane, Kane. But I, people always tell me how much they love their MyPillow products, but I've never had so many people contact me about one all at once. This MyPillow 2.0, people are just like blown away by how great it is. Yeah. I'm gonna order 2 more. If my wife's in the chat, order, because it's buy one, get one free. Order 2 more, Kathy, for our daughter in California. Because this buy one, get one free offer is going to go away soon, and you want to get the 2 for 1 while you can. I don't know what the regular price is going to be when the buy one, get one free offer is over, but this is a good deal right now. So if you're in there, Kathy, you in there? I saw you in there a few minutes ago. Not I'll remind you today. Oh, great, Rome. They're that good. Yeah, Rome just ordered 2 more. Now she has 4. So some of the listeners like Richie. It's true. I used to ride Richie's bus when I was in high school and middle school before I had a car. But some of the listeners that are really long-time listeners have been listening to me since I was like 19, 20 years old. So they still think of me as that 19, 20-year-old kid. I'm going to be 52 next month. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to take 1 or 2 more calls, and then I'm going to get into the DeSantis book. In fact, the next person's been on hold for like before I came on the air, basically. So I don't even know who it is. Well, thanks, Rome. Thank you so much. Now, I don't want to hear no. Just, is there anyone else? Just give me a yes. I don't want to hear the no's because it'll get too clouded. Give me a yes if you are in the chat room right now on YouTube and agree with me that you would have gone not guilty in the Murdaugh trial, that there was reasonable doubt. Just the yeses. The no's will bury it because I know most people are going to say he's guilty. But Janet, okay, Richie, me, Janet, okay. Well, good. Lori, George, oh, there you go. Yeah, and he's a Democrat. Wow. So a lot of people agree with me. They would have gone not guilty too. That's great. That's great. So I'm not crazy. Well, that's good to know. Sometimes sometimes I think maybe I'm crazy. I'm so glad to see that. Well, because I thought it would get buried. There's not going to be that many yeses. So, well, 52, which I'm not at yet, is not what it used to be. He probably did it. But, I think there's some reasonable doubt in there. That's all. I'm not saying he's innocent. Not, those are different standards. He probably did it. But I'm not going to send a man to prison in this day and age of microfibers and DNA on circumstantial evidence. And I just can't believe someone that's so stoned could commit a crime without leaving a trail everywhere. Look at OJ. OJ had Ron Goldman's blood inside his Bronco. OJ spoke out on the Murdaugh case. I got the audio. I don't know if I'll play it. Had so much to talk about today. The butcher of Brentwood, OJ Simpson. Mm-hmm. I didn't say he's innocent. You know, a jury doesn't find someone innocent. Not guilty isn't innocent. It's not guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. All right, welcome back. 35 minutes after the hour. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show. Calls on hold, stand by. Our number, 888-GO-KANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Kathy.
Hey, Kathy, what's up?
Well, I don't think you can get away with murder. Do that.
Yeah, many times over, yeah.
They said that they found a tape recorder, and on the tape recorder, they heard him say something, and that's what nailed him, you know, to prosecute him guilty. Now, I don't know, this is somebody's life you're talking about, you know, so I would probably be with you. I would probably say not guilty, but you know, he had a lot of stuff on him.
Well, let me tell you, you know, when somebody is as much of a drug addict as this guy is, how could he pull off a double homicide and not leave evidence all over the place? You know, when someone is shot, especially two, there's so much blood everywhere. I don't think people realize. I just don't think someone that's so stoned would think clearly enough to bring the two rifles and not have evidence all over the place. You know, there's other things too.
They also said they found some blood on his shirt.
I don't know. I didn't see too much about blood splatter on him. I didn't see any DNA evidence on him. You know, in this, you know, that show CSI has raised things to a new level, right? Since that came on, we're in this era. You know, I know it's just a TV show, but we're in this era of not just DNA, but microfibers and everything else. And I just don't think someone that's this out of control with their drug addiction. I mean, he's like Hunter Biden. Do you think Hunter Biden could do something like that and not leave evidence all over the place? I mean, and Alex Murdaugh is as much of an addict as Hunter.
Yeah, I think they just, you know, I think he had so many, he had a lot of enemies too. So I think his time was doomed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was like at the end, people were just so sick of it, what he was getting away with and everything.
Well, he was kind of like you know what he's like? He's kind of like a boss hog kind of guy. You know, they had that one picture of him. He had a badge. Yeah, I guess he was like I don't know, somehow he got a badge and was like a cop, and he walked around with his badge, flashing his badge after his son killed the girl in the boating accident. I get all that, but I just don't see someone that's so stoned all of the time, not leaving all. I mean, look at OJ Simpson, the butcher of Brentwood. He had Ron Goldman's blood in his car. He had his shoe print in the blood at the scene. This guy, there was like nothing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if you know, but OJ Simpson called him.
I don't know if he called him. He made a video, which I have the audio of. I don't think OJ actually called him. He made a video online. OJ.
And there's another one. You know, he got away with murder. You know, I mean, I don't know. Go figure. There was.
Let me tell you, there was more evidence against Robert Blake and OJ than against this guy, and they both got acquitted. Just be, you know, that's it. All right, Kathy, take care. Thanks for the call. Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? I cut her off a little too soon. Sorry, Kathy. Good morning. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, Jeff, for me.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, did you know that he shot? This is what they said. He shot his son and killed him with a shotgun.
Yes.
So find the other gun, take it, and he shot her at quite some distance, and I forget the distance. But after killing your son at point blank range with a shotgun, and then go get another gun calmly, and then shoot her at a distance, it doesn't make sense, and that was brought up.
And you're not leaving blood evidence all over the place. And you know, the thing, I thought he had a very credible defense that it could be a revenge killing against his son for the boating accident where the son got the girl killed. And, you know, these are Southerners. Good old boys will go out and have some old-fashioned Southern justice when something like that happens. Young, pretty girl killed by this spoiled rich kid. I think that that alone is enough reasonable doubt.
And did they ever find fingerprints on the weapons?
Well, I don't know. If they're his rifles, someone that is this stoned all of the time, this high, they thought they got two guns. These are not handguns. They were long guns. They were rifles. He committed the perfect crime. And I don't blame them for lying about not being at the kennel at the scene of the crime. And as I said in the first segment, if he had told the truth that he was at the kennel, the scene of the crime, and he got convicted, all the legal experts, including Judge Janine, would be saying today, well, he placed himself at the scene of the crime by admitting he was at the kennel. You know, I don't blame him for lying to the cops. I watch ID, and what I've learned from ID is never talk to the cops, especially even if you're innocent. Do not talk to the cops. You're done. Once they start questioning you, you're done.
You know, if he was there on the grounds, he would have heard the shot. Maybe.
I don't know. How high was he? And it was, and how far was the house from the kennel? Could you hear the shot? You know, and you're in South Carolina. You know, come on. People are shooting guns off all the time.
And another thing, when you fire any type of firearm, you're covered in gunpowder. Why wasn't there any evidence of gunpowder on him?
Exactly. So you're with me. You say there's reasonable doubt in the Murdaugh case.
Without a reasonable doubt, and there is reasonable doubt.
Yeah, and people got to understand. I'm not saying the guy's innocent. He probably did it. But if I'm on a jury, if this guy wasn't going to go free anyway. He had so many financial crimes. He was going to go to white collar prison for years. Okay, you know, but with all the money he was. When a lawyer steals from the trust accounts of their clients, that's a big deal, right? And he did that and all kinds of stuff. So it's not like he was going to go free. I'm not saying he was innocent of the murders, but if a jury doesn't find someone innocent, someone's found not guilty or guilty, and in a court of law, you're not found innocent. And I'm telling you, I'm not going to send someone to prison in this day and age of technology and forensic science for the rest of their lives when they're stoned out of their mind and they're not leaving evidence all over the place. There's no way. I just can't. I couldn't do it. I would have been the holdout.
And I got one more question. Most dog kennels have cameras all over the place, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I've got cameras all over my house, not just the doorbell camera, you know? So, and I'm not some boss hog type like this guy. So, you know, come on. That's also something that's interesting. And my cameras have sound on them.
Right. Most of the high-tech ones have video audio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Jeff. Yeah, go ahead. No, finish up. What's your other one?
Well, there's so much forensic evidence that is usually recovered at the scene, and why didn't they go over? I mean, there was so much stuff that was left out that should have been covered.
Yeah.
Because ping his phone, that's what I meant.
Yeah, and some people are saying, well, he probably hired guys. If he was going to hire guys, he would hire some tweakers. Those guys get busted all the time. They would have flipped. They've been through this guy's phones and computers and probably all the strippers he was with and everything else. A guy like this probably has all kinds of girlfriends all over town. You know, they've been through everything. So no, I just think there's enough reasonable doubt. He probably did it, but there's enough reasonable doubt where I would have said not guilty. No. All right. Listen, if you're on hold, stand by. We're going to take our last break of the first hour, and you're welcome to continue to call in about this. It is open phones as well on Friday, Open MAGA Mike Friday, and I do want to hear your thoughts on the Murdaugh trial. But when we get back, I just got in the mail yesterday Ron DeSantis's new book, The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival. And I'm on page 19. I read some of the first chapter right before I went on the air today. And I learned something about Ron DeSantis that is very troubling to me. And I'm going to share it with you. I am as serious as a heart attack. I'm going to share this with you. And I want to hear it. It is open phones. You don't have to call in about what I'm discussing, but I do want to hear your thoughts on what I discovered in Ron DeSantis' own words that has me very, very concerned about him. All right. And I'm serious. And it may be part of what the great President Trump is referencing when he calls him Ron DeSanctimonious. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Radio Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Back with your calls after this. Okay. Oh, yeah. No, I'm serious. This is not good. This is not good. Anybody else order this book? Yeah. Not for me, Gregory. Not for me. If I'm on a jury and I'm making a decision that's going to take an individual's freedom away from them for the rest of their lives, I need, in this day and age, I need more than that, especially from some druggie. When you're on a jury, you don't have to explain your vote. Yeah, I had no intention on talking about this. I was just I brought it in to show you guys that I have the book. I was someone on the podcast last night, and I was here. I had a few minutes to kill before I went on the air. I was all set up earlier. Welcome to the new members. And I just started reading the first chapter, and it's upsetting. By the way, those of you that are Patreon supporters, thanks for your support. And if you guys would like to support the show by becoming a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and all my videos. And top Patreon supporters, you have your name listed in the description of the YouTube videos as well as the podcast episodes. Oh boy. I ordered iced coffee and they gave me hot. But I didn't want to correct them because I go there every day, so I took the coffee I didn't want. You're going to find out. It's disturbing. It's very concerning. It's very concerning. With homeowners, buyers, landlords, and tenants for over 18 years, Elena Castro knows Florida real estate and has a proven record. Yeah, I'm going to read the whole book. As well as top negotiation talents. When you list your property, but Castro, she knows the right listing price. Well, I have to know what's going on, Greg. It's part of my job, and but if you're on hold, hang in there because I got to get into this. It's going to take me a few minutes to explain it. I won't be able to get done with it in the time we have left because I took some of the breaks late. I'm running late on my schedule. It's not a George Bush endorsement. It's a little more detailed than that. All right. I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. You know, I have been hearing from so many listeners on how happy they are with their MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology. You know, I hear from listeners all the time telling me how much they love and enjoy their MyPillow products. But I've never heard from so many people all at once about one MyPillow product. The MyPillow 2.0 with the cooling technology, which is buy one, get one free with our promo code KANE at checkout, KANE, is probably the most popular MyPillow product since the original MyPillow was introduced to the world. You know, Mike Lindell is the Thomas Edison of sleep. He is an inventor and an innovator. And when I heard about the MyPillow 2.0, I heard about it early. They told me about it, that it was coming. And my first thought was, how can he improve on perfection? And then when we got back from the cruise, I ordered my two MyPillow 2.0s, buy one, get one free with our promo code KANE. I use it too, KANE. I buy all of the MyPillow products I have, by the way. I buy all of them. They don't send them to me for free. They probably would if I asked, but you know, they're so inexpensive with our promo code. I'd be embarrassed to ask, right? But the MyPillow 2.0 has cooling technology. You know, when your head and face get warm at night, you flip the pillow over, you've just interrupted your sleep, even if you don't remember it, and you're not in REM sleep anymore. And I don't know if you notice, hear how rested I am. You know, my alarm clock is set for 2:30 in the morning, and I don't go to bed early either. Okay, I stay up much later than I should, and I'm well rested, and I'm even better rested than I have been in the past because the pillow's not getting hot, and I don't have to flip it over. It's amazing. I just told my wife this morning to order 2 more and send them to my daughter's house out in California. They're incredible. So go to MyPillow.com, order your MyPillow 2.0s, buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane at checkout, Kane. You can also order by phone, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879, promo code Kane, Kane. All right. So I got in the mail yesterday Ron DeSantis' new book, The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Revival. And I brought it into the radio station this morning because I was just going to show the book to everybody on YouTube. And I was running a little early today, which is very unusual. And I had five minutes or so of just standing here before I went on the air, which never happens. So I started reading the book. I skipped over the introduction. I do not read the introduction of books. Do any of you read the introductions? I always skip over the introduction. If I had my own book here and there was an introduction, I'd skip my own introduction. And I went right to chapter 1. I am only on page 19. And what is in the first chapter of this book is disturbing to me and incredibly concerning when it comes to Ron DeSantis. And I'm going to tell you what it is. Now, he starts talking about his life growing up in Florida in the 80s. And I relate to that. I grew up in Florida. I moved here as a young kid in 1982. And the first few pages, I relate to everything Ron DeSantis is saying. And he talks about Florida in the 80s like it was. Those were the glory days, man. And I'm like, wow, this is cool. This is, you know, I'm older than him by a few years, but we have such same experiences. Then he starts writing about his time at Yale. And again, I'm only on page 19. I hope if President Trump is listening this morning, or Christina Bobb, or someone else from our great president's team, I think this is the beginning of what President Trump is referencing when he talks about Ron DeSanctimonious. Governor DeSantis was the captain of the baseball team at Yale. And a huge chunk of the first chapter is about another captain of the Yale baseball team that he met at Yale before he was involved in politics. And this led to him being involved in politics. And you know what it was? You know who I'm talking about? Bush 2. Bush 41, H.W. Bush. He was personally introduced to George W. Bush by the coach. He was the captain of the Yale baseball team. DeSantis was the captain of the baseball team. He talked about a conversation that they had. And then he talked about how when he graduated in 2001, that George W. Bush addressed the graduates at the graduation. And there's a whole section in chapter 1 of him praising H.W. and G.W. Bush. Now, that's concerning to me. Okay? That's concerning to me. I've met Jeb, G.W. I didn't meet H.W., but I was 5 feet away from him once. But I didn't get to meet him. Maybe 8 feet away when he was president. But you're not hearing me telling these colorful stories. Now, it says that this book was written by Ron DeSantis, and he very well may have written it alone. I don't know. But most people that write books like this have a ghost writer with them, and it usually would say Ron DeSantis with, and I don't see any with. Like I just bought a new copy of The Art of the Deal by the great President Trump, and it says with the, you know, this snake that's always trashing President Trump on cable news, on the fake news. I don't know his name. I don't want to know his name. I might put tape over the name on the cover, by the way. So I don't know if Governor DeSantis wrote this or had a ghostwriter with him. I would think he would have a ghostwriter, but I don't. It's not on the cover, you know. There's too much praising in the beginning about H.W. Bush, and I'll tell you this: people that except for President Trump, and this applies to even Obama, these guys that become presidents are groomed from a young age. Okay, they're recruited to be presidents, and sometimes they make it, and sometimes they don't. All right. Look at John Kerry, for example. When John Kerry ran for president in 2004 is when this realization came to my attention. There's a very famous film of President Kennedy. You've all seen it, sailing while he was president in the harbor up in Massachusetts on his sailboat. You've seen it. He's wearing the blue jacket with the presidential seal on it. It's real cool. He's behind the wheel like he's in the, you know, the America's Cup sailboat race. And there's this nerdy, ugly kid dressed like Thurston Howell III with a camera on the sailboat with President Kennedy. I saw this my whole life and didn't realize till Kerry ran for president that it's John Kerry. So here you got John Kerry in high school on President Kennedy's sailboat being sailed by President Kennedy while Kennedy's president. It's not a coincidence he's who he is today, okay? I've talked a lot about how Mayor Pete has been groomed by the Kennedys since he was in high school. Obama comes from Hillary Clinton's Chicago. Hillary Clinton's family, her parents, were very well-connected people. There was this cell in Chicago. It was Hillary Clinton's parents, Bill Ayer's parents, Valerie Jarrett's parents, and that Frank Marshall Davis character, okay? They had this Chicago cell. Obama came out of that, okay? And a lot of them, you know, Bush, a well-connected family, CIA and all that, GW, his daddy. You understand the connections, okay? I've always been concerned about Ted Cruz because he came up through the Bush family in Texas, and then when he was running against President Trump in the first campaign, that photograph of Ted Cruz's father came public with Ted Cruz's dad in New Orleans on the sidewalk with Lee Harvey Oswald. And I believe that's him, and I'm not the only one. And I believe, you know, because he was a recent immigrant from Cuba, it's the height of the Cold War tensions with Cuba. Bush was FBI then, and I think that President Bush knew Ted Cruz's father back in those FBI days, and his father was working for the FBI, infiltrating this group that Oswald was in. In fact, if you watch JFK with Kevin Costner, the Oliver Stone movie, what was the name of that attorney? Oh, I forgot. In New Orleans that Kevin Costner played. I just forgot his name. But he had nameless subpoenas for 2 Cubans. One of them, I believe, was Ted Cruz's father. And Ted Cruz was born in Canada because his Garrett was the guy's name, right? Was that his name? The guy that was a real guy. Garrison. Thank you very much. Jim Garrison. Ted Cruz's father fled to Canada to avoid Jim Garrison's subpoena in New Orleans. That's why Ted Cruz was born in Canada. And then they came up through the Bush family. Now I'm starting to think that and I love Ron DeSantis. He's the greatest governor ever. Don't misunderstand. He's the greatest governor ever, but I'm with Trump, baby, okay? Now I'm and I see that Jeb endorsed DeSantis the other day. GW saying things. He's getting all this Bush support in the donor class, Ron DeSantis. And I'm only on page 19, And he's telling this story about how he met H.W. Bush, and they had to have bonded. They were both captains of the Yale baseball team. So that is very concerning to me. It is disturbing. Now I'm up on our top of the hour break. I want to hear your thoughts on this, whether you agree with me or not. I don't want to be right on this, but how long have the Bushes been prepping and grooming Ron DeSantis? And do you think he's a Bushy? Has he been brought up through the ranks by the Bush family? Let me know your thoughts. 888-GO-CANE-1. It's 7 a.m. Back after this. You're on hold, Lisa? Okay. I'm going to take the calls random. Maybe I'll get lucky. It'll be you. If you guys are on hold, well, John Kerry's with the Kennedys, like Mayor Pete. But I want you guys to share your thoughts on this. You know, I mean, I'm only on page 19. And let me take the cover off so I can hold it better. Yeah, it's this whole thing about the athletic director making him come to practice. He didn't know why, and he got there, and Secret Service agents were there. Bush was no longer president. Let me skip down. Okay. As captain, it was my job both to instruct my teammates to behave and introduce President. I want to read this when we get back. I'm not going to read it. I'm going to read it when we get back on the air, so I don't read it twice. I hope President Trump or one of his people are listening to this program right now at Mar-a-Lago. So if any of you are on hold, give me a moment to read through this part of the book. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe, and everyone like the video. You know, when you guys like the video, it tells the YouTube algorithm to recommend this video and my other videos to people that have not yet found my channel. So that helps me out a lot. It helps the channel grow. I just got a text from someone. Love it. You have been talking to Donald Trump, haven't you? I'll never tell. I'll never tell.
Hey, it's Scott Shannon, and who doesn't want to have a home security system?
Yeah, do you guys find this a little disturbing? I'm going to read the part of the book. And I mean, this is right in chapter 1. And it's really, no, it's chapter 2. I apologize. I read chapter 1. I'm on chapter 2. So it starts on page 17, which is chapter 2. You're glad I was on the Murdaugh jury. He wasn't going free. He's done so many financial crimes. He'd go to prison for those. They may still prosecute him on those. A lot of callers on hold, so but I got to read this part of the book. Well, you guys can you can tweet out the video here and put a timestamp on it when I start talking about it on the video. I am not a conspiracy theorist, but you know, things come out there and you have to use your, you know, your thinking cap. Are you still coming to Florida, UK Neil? Because if you come to Florida, I'm taking you to the gun range, man. That's what you got to do. If you visit Florida, you got to, especially from the UK, you got to come to you got to go to a gun range. And I love going to gun ranges with guys that have never been to one before. It's beautiful. The look on their face when they, it's beautiful. Usually, though, if I take someone, I've taken people from the UK to the gun range before. Usually what we do is start with a 22. And then I give them the Glock or the 38 or something. All right, here we go. All right, I'm Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold, stand by. Let me do a quick recap, and then I got to read a little passage from the book. Okay, just to do a recap, I received yesterday in the mail, I ordered this on Amazon. Okay, this was not a review copy or anything. I bought it. Ron DeSantis's book, The Courage to Be Free, Florida's Blueprint for America's Survival. And I just read it for a couple of minutes before I went on the air today. I'm actually in chapter 2 and on page 17. Okay. And he shares something here that is very disturbing to me. And what I said is, you know, he was captain of the Yale baseball team, DeSantis. So was H.W. Bush. And right here in the beginning of the book, he's praising H.W. and then references G.W. later. But listen to this. He was told, just give you some background, then I'll read this portion. He was told by the athletic director to be at practice. He didn't know why, but it made him go to this practice. He got there, and there were Secret Service agents there. Bush was no longer president. Clinton was. And the athletic director tells Ron DeSantis, the captain of the Yale baseball team, show some respect and do not drop any F-bombs in front of the former president. Now I'm reading, this is page 17 in DeSantis's book. To have a former president come to our baseball practice was a big deal. The closest in my life I had come to meeting anybody famous was seeing baseball players during spring training or getting an autograph at a baseball card show. As captain, this is DeSantis's book, page 17. As captain, it was my job both to instruct my teammates to behave and to introduce President Bush to the team. Don't just do anything to embarrass the team, I told the guys. A few minutes later, the captain of the 1948 Yale baseball team walked onto the field to meet us. Mr. President, thanks for coming, I told him. And then there's some talk about this and his conversations, you know, about Bush. I found President Bush to be this is on page 18. I found President Bush to be a generally decent and humble man, and I had great admiration for his distinguished service to our nation. Within the next 6 weeks, my baseball career came to an end. I graduated in front of George H.W. Bush's son, the 43rd president of the United States, that'd be W, who gave the commencement speech for the Yale class of 2001. There's a lot of praising of the Bushes going on there, don't you think? And I didn't even read all of it. So I'd like to know, and I'm going to go to the phones, did Ron DeSantis write this with or without a ghostwriter? Who was the ghostwriter if he had one? And what other books did they write? If there was a ghostwriter, it was a Bushy ghostwriter. who's written Bushy books. I used to be a big fan of the Bush family. I voted and advocated for the election and re-election of W. I didn't realize they were lying war criminals and war profiteers who have destroyed the lives of millions of people out of ego and greed. I did not know that at the time, okay? President Trump did. And when President Bush pushed us into the war in Iraq, President Trump was opposed to it, and it was not a popular position at the time. He's also opposed to the war in Vietnam, President Trump. He's a very smart guy. But there's too much sucking up to the Bushes. And I also learned that H.W. Bush was a scumbag. You know, Barbara Bush, the first lady, Barbara Bush, wrote a book that she had published after her death. And she told the truth about her husband, H.W. Bush. She didn't have this published until after her death. You know that H.W. Bush had a mistress through his entire presidency and vice presidency? It started when he was in, I think it was when he was in, his wife wrote about this, Barbara Bush. He started an affair with a woman when he was ambassador to China, and it continued all the way through his career, through his presidency. She was at the White House. There's photographs of her at the H.W. Bush White House. And he was out there criticizing Clinton during Fornegate. I remember, and then I'm going to go to the phones. I'm sorry, guys. I got to get this off my chest. H.W. Bush. I remember when in the 2000 campaign, when President Clinton was still president, he was criticized. He made a joke about GW. Remember GW did that interview with this reporter who asked him who the leaders of all these countries were, and he didn't know. And Clinton made a joke about it at GW's expense. And H.W. Bush was at some event, and reporters went up to him and said, "What do you think about Bill Clinton?" And he said to the cameras, this was H.W. Bush, "If President Clinton continues to comment on this campaign, I'm going to tell the American people what I think about him as a man." And he walked away, which meant his affairs. Well, now we find out, courtesy of First Lady Barbara Bush, in a book that she wrote and had published after her death, that H.W. was like Clinton, that he had a mistress the entire time he was president and vice president in the White House. Yeah, that's the Bush family. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa.
Hey, Lisa.
Hey, listen.
Lisa from YouTube here.
What you're talking about it's disturbing, but at the same time, like somebody said in the chat room, it's a good thing because it reveals so much that maybe we don't, it disturbs us to hear it, but we need to know this ahead of time. And listen, when Ron kicked out those rejected the Trump supporters the other day at his book signing, he did the same thing that Carrie Lake did. She rejected McCain supporters. Ron is blowing it like that, rejecting Trump supporters, and all of this stuff is not going to help him, especially all the Bush stuff. This is ridiculous. Well,
there's too much. There's too much sucking up here, and I'm starting to wonder if he got into the Bush connections from that Yale captain of the baseball team period, and the Bush family and the Bush connections have been behind him all these years as just some old Florida boy who grew up in a middle-class family and made his way in the Congress and somehow became governor with President Trump's help, of course. And I think there might be more to the story than that now.
Oh, well, heck yeah. I mean, anybody who's got the Bushes propping them up, this is not a good thing.
Well, I'm a little nervous because I am deep in Ron DeSantis' Free Florida. I love him. But this, what I'm talking about, I don't think is a popular thing to be talking about in Florida right now. But this is, I'm only on page 19. There's too much sucking up of the Bushes.
And it's a warning for all of us. Warning. This is a good thing that we know this. And
like for example, I talked about how I advocated very heavily for G.W. Bush's first and second elections, right? But what did I say? I didn't know he was a lying war criminal who lied about WMDs and all this stuff, okay? I threw all that in there because I didn't know, and I want people to know that I didn't know about him then. And I'm not, there probably was a ghostwriter. The ghostwriter is someone connected to the Bush connections of people.
Correct. Well, I'm like you, Brian. There was many of us who didn't know the stuff that we know now about the Bush family. Had we known then, it would have been a whole different story. But I actually was with Trump. I never supported the war. I supported our soldiers, but I never supported the choice, the thing to go in there at all. I always thought it was a bad.
Well, like I say, I really want to hear President Trump talk about this. I want to, I really do. I want to know what he knows.
Oh, President Trump, if we can depend on anybody to help us out here, it's going to be President Trump. He, like he said before, he goes, I know things.
Listen, if you're a Republican and you have been for a long time, you probably supported the Bushes. We didn't know about them. So, but you got to do that disclaimer. If you are a Republican running for office and you're praising the Bushes, I don't want to vote for you. I've never heard DeSantis do this before.
Yeah, I don't either. Anybody who supports the Bush family, they're dead to me.
You know what I wonder. President Carter is in hospice care and is not expected to be with us much longer. And when they have his funeral, do you think they'll invite and allow President Trump to attend with the other presidents?
Oh, heck no. Are you kidding? He is reviled, because he's not part of their club. He's not a crooked politician.
Yeah, but you know what? President Trump is part of our club, the MAGA club.
That's right. Yeah, he's, as we've talked about before, Brian, President Trump has set the bar very high for accountability and weeding out these weasels in our government.
Listen, Lisa, I'm very late for the break. Thanks for your call. Callers on hold, stand by. Back after this.
Don't sit on the sidelines. Get in on the action. Call the Steve Kane Show live on air now. 888-GO-KANE-1. This is the Steve Kane Show with Brian Craig on Oldies 95.9 and 106.9.
Select Tours invites you on an unforgettable journey to the breathtaking wine country of Portugal on a first-class river cruise sailing down the Douro River from August 23rd through September 2nd. You will visit awe-inspiring medieval towns.
See, guys, a lot of you say, I wouldn't buy the book. I wouldn't read the book. You've got to read these things. Like, that's why I read liberal press and follow liberal media. You got to know what's going on the other side. If I didn't have here's the cover. I took the cover off of the book because it was getting me. If I didn't order this book, I never would have known about this. Never. If I didn't order this book and started reading it this morning. And I don't know why it's so unusual for me to start reading a book before I go on the air. I don't think it was an accident that I just, for the first time, I think maybe ever, I started reading a book before I went on the radio like that. And that was not an accident. Oh my goodness. Yeah, there's one opening on the board where Lisa was at, if you'd like to call in. It's still open phones today, but I want to hear people talk about these topics I brought up too. It is hot in here. I'm right back. Be right back, guys. I'm going to say I got this wireless mic. I'm walking out to the hallway to turn the air conditioning down. Let's see. What is the temperature in here? Oh my goodness. It is 77 degrees. I want to turn it down to 70. I said it's 70 degrees. I like it cold. All right. I love having this wireless mic. Here we go. All right. I want to talk about my chiropractor, Dr. Philip Appleton, who has just really changed my life in so many ways because I am now living without pain. After just 2 treatments, he rid me of years of suffering from my knee pain after my skateboard accident. And I was in pain all the time. After 1 treatment with his laser away pain treatment, he rid me of my arthritis pain. And, you know, arthritis, I just thought arthritis, yeah, you know, getting older, you get arthritis. It's part of life. Just, you got to get used to the pain. You don't. Pain is not a part of growing older. Okay? You do not have to live with pain. Call Dr. Appleton. He's a chiropractic physician, and he wants to rid you of your pain. His laser away pain treatment works. There's no injections, no drugs, no surgery, and no downtime. He's open 6 days a week, Monday through Saturday. Appointments are not necessary, and walk-ins are welcome. Dr. Appleton knows when you're in pain, you need relief now. That's why walk-ins are welcome. Appointments are not necessary. His laser away pain treatment works on all kinds of pain. Any joint where there's pain, it works. Strains and sprains, bursitis, arthritis like with me, herniated disc, rotary tears, acute pain, chronic pain. I got a long list of pains here. Some of them I can't even pronounce. Tinnitus, lumbar pain, muscular contraction, hip pain, bronchial neuralgia. I don't even know what that is, but it works on it. And Dr. Appleton is amazing. I know his laser away pain treatment works because it worked on me in 2 different parts of my body on 2 different types of pain. And I've talked to many listeners that have had the same experience. Give my chiropractic physician a call, Dr. Appleton, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. All right, there's one opening on our board at 1-888-465-2631. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Michael.
You know, here's the deal with this whole connections and stuff. I mean, think about it. If it's true, what you read in that book is true, that
well, why would it not be true? This is Ron DeSantis' book that he wrote. These are his words.
Right. And you're speculating about possibly the Bush is possibly grooming Governor DeSantis, right?
Possibly. It sounds like it.
Sounds like it. And so think about this. We look at where HW was. He was FBI. He was CIA. Yeah, he served, but he was FBI and CIA, right? And remember, Trump wanted to release a bunch of stuff about JFK and got talked out of it, probably by the CIA. Because why? Because there was probably that picture we were speculating about with
Ted Cruz's dad. Well, and remember, not only do we have this Lee Harvey Oswald Bush connection with Ted Cruz's dad with Oswald in New Orleans, but H.W. Bush was in Dallas when President Kennedy was assassinated. He was in the FBI then.
Right. So you've got a bunch of connections. I mean, A plus B equals C, right?
Yeah.
1 equals 2. So I mean, the grooming aspect could be there. I mean, and you got to ask yourself, why did when Jeb Bush got knocked down in 2016, right? Why didn't he put up a fight about it? You know?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you. Hey, Mike, thanks for the call. And don't misunderstand me. Ron DeSantis is the greatest governor ever. I love the guy, and he does great work. But this is just troubling what I'm reading on pages 17 through 19 of his book. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning, Brian. Thank you. Good show. I just wanted to talk about Dr. Appleton, if you don't mind. Pain, my fingers are swollen. So I'm thinking that if I go to him, would he be able to diagnose? I mean, I'm in such pain.
Well, I'll just tell you, I had a lot of pain in my knuckle, and I thought I had jammed my knuckle. I went to see Dr. Appleton, no appointment. I just showed up on a Saturday, and he looked at me and he got arthritis. I said, Dr. Appleton. He's like, no, it's arthritis, man. You're 51 years old, Brian. He examined me, said you got arthritis, and after one treatment, my arthritis pain, which almost had me in tears at some point, from time to time, was gone, and it has not returned. And it's been about 6 months, and it has not returned. And I take no medications or anything. So that's just my experience, and I hope you have the same.
Another thing is that my shoulders, when I sleep, it's so much pain at night that I can't have a restful sleep.
Oh my goodness.
So, I know I bought the MyPillow mattress from.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older, everything is just, and I used to be very athletic, and now it's just.
Well, listen, I'm not the doctor, but I'm sharing my experience and what I've heard from many other listeners. Call Dr. Appleton, get the directions and go in there and fill me in after you talk to him. But his laser away pain treatment works. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. All right. Oh, by the way, Dr. Appleton's number, 954-973-0710. You're on the air. Good morning.
Hey, Brian, it's Greg.
Hey, Greg.
Giving commercials to all your. That last call was useless. But that being said,
now slow down for a second. Don't tell me not to talk. Are you out of your mind, Greg? I have a woman calling me up who's suffering from pain, and you just want me to blow that off? Well, I'm a gentleman, unlike you. All right. And when a woman calls me who is in pain and who is suffering and she's looking for help, you're like Biden laughing at that woman whose sons died from fentanyl overdose. Are you trying to make yourself look like a lowlife? Listen, she was asking me about my experience with Dr. Appleton. I'm up against a break, so I will put you on hold. And when we talk about our sponsors, that's a lot of substance, because your support of the great sponsors to our radio stations are what make this radio station possible. Okay? I'm just filler in between all of that great information on the radio station sponsors, guys. Oh my goodness. Greg. All right. He must have something good. If you're on hold, stand by. I did put Greg on hold. That may be only the 4th or 5th time I've ever held a caller through a break before. Let's see if it's good and if it was a good or bad idea. Back after this.
Making morning radio great again.
Oh my goodness. Give me a break. A jerk. Lady calls me up, desperate from pain and suffering, and he's annoyed by her. Bad idea? Probably. Probably a bad idea. Oh, see, the batteries are low. Oh, you got to click it? Oh. Hold on. Mike's sick, so I'm keeping him away from all the equipment. Okay, stop it and start a new one. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Well, thank you. Okay. Oh my goodness. Jeez. I mean, what do you guys think about this sucking up of the bushes right in the beginning of the book? I mean, it's just a little too much. Just a little much. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. That's what's in the book. It's not my fault. It's in the book. What's today's date? Okay. There we go. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Book report. Well, we're doing the book report now. Right. I've read more of this. I've read more of this book on being on page 19 than I read of all the books that I wrote book reports on in school. You know what I mean? Oh my goodness. Oh man. I need a haircut. My hat's getting too tight. I got a haircut right before the cruise, so I haven't had a haircut in a month. How often do you guys get haircuts? Once a month is usually about what I get. But as it gets hotter, my hair grows fuller and faster for some reason in Florida. 6 weeks, a month? Yeah, I go about a month. 4 weeks, that's about right. But unfortunately, since COVID, all the places, all the barbershops make you make appointments. So you just can't show up and get your hair cut at any barbershops in Florida. You got to make appointments to get your hair cut like a woman. It's ridiculous. Every 2 months, wow. Well, I got to maintain a professional look. You know, I can't go 2 months.
Now back to the Steve Kane Show.
All right, we are back. 33 minutes after the hour. It's Friday. There's only one opening on the board at 1-888 go Kane 1. I'm not sure which line Greg 2 is on. Greg 2, we held him over, so he must have something good. I think it's this line. Greg, is this you? Oh, all right, Greg, you've calmed down. What's on your mind?
I don't get upset with you, Brian. You give me too much credit. But let me ask you a question. As far as two things, Murdaugh trial, you can indicate that you voted not guilty.
Correct.
And do you know what the importance of him lying about him being with his wife and son? You know what the importance of it was? It was the time frame.
Yeah, I know.
An 8-minute time frame. So you're telling me he leaves his wife and son, goes away, and in that 8-minute span, someone came in and killed them.
Well, possibly 2 people because there were 2 rifles used. Yeah.
Saying that 8 minute and he doesn't hear any gunshots. He lies to.
Listen, well, you keep asking questions. Can I answer any of them, or are you just going to ask them? You say, can I ask you a question? You ask me questions, and then you don't let me answer. What I'm telling you is that This guy, yes, he's a lawyer, so he's a liar, right? Shocker. That's correct. Well, he's a different kind of lawyer. Okay, he's not the kind of scummy guy. This guy was like a criminal lawyer and all this stuff he had done in the past. But he was a prosecutor at one point. He worked with the prosecutor's office, so he's got a history of being in the criminal side of things before. Now then he was doing personal. And second, he is a hardcore drug addict, right? I find it impossible to believe that someone who's as much of a drug addict as Hunter Biden could commit a double homicide like that and not leave all kinds of evidence all over the place. And as far as not being, excuse me, I'm just not giving the answer that you want. And as far as lying about not being at the scene of the crime, what I talked about earlier, if he would have told the truth about that and then got a conviction, all the legal experts that are all over the news saying that's what did him in, that lie, they would have said, well, he put himself at the scene. So since he admitted he was at the scene, that's what did him. And I would have gone to, I think he probably did it. He probably did it, but I'm telling you, there's some doubt.
You don't answer the question. Like Ricky says, you deflect. If your wife and daughter were killed, would you lie? Yes or no?
Well, the reason that we don't have, I am answering it. I'm just not giving the answer that the imaginary. I'm answering the question, but this is the answer from the real Brian, not the imaginary Brian you were rehearsing with in your head during the commercial break. Okay, because at bottom of the hour break's a longer break. That is why we don't put family members on juries. Jurors are impartial. Answering
the question, Brian. You know what? This is what you do consistently. Would you lie if the police said, "When's the last time you saw your wife and daughter?"
I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't answer to. I wouldn't talk to the police. I would say, talk to my lawyer. I would not talk to the police, even if it were. No, I would not talk to the police, even if it was my own family.
Why? Right.
No, I would. I would refer them to my attorney. I would never talk to the police, even if it were my wife. My wife and I have talked about this. We're watching ID, and we both have said that if one of us turned up dead, we wouldn't talk to the cops. We'd go call a lawyer.
Your listening audience knows you would lie. You might want to talk to your attorney first, which would be suspicious, to be honest with you. You would you'd be cooperative. You'd want to find the killer. They might be close by. It was within a matter of minutes of them coming. That's what you would do. Now it doesn't fit into your narrative. But also, stop bashing Ron DeSantis. You're crushing our greatest candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you know what? All you and your minions are doing is dragging down Ron DeSantis, because as a 22-year-old, he met a president of the United States. I'm
telling you, no. I'm telling you that this sucking up to both Bushes early on in this book, it starts on page 17 and runs through 19. That's as far as I've read so far. But it's enough. It's a lot of sucking up in those 2 pages. And it's 17, 18, and 19, so it's actually 3 pages, okay? Did you go to college? I thought you went to college. It's 3 pages, not 2. 17, 18, and 19. Well, I guess they didn't teach you how to count. You didn't go to law school for 7 years. I'm starting to question whether he went to law school. I let him go too soon. He said he went to college. He went to law school for 7 years. No, it's 4 years of undergrad, 3 years of law school, totally. Oh, my goodness. Wow. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, boy.
Good morning, Conservative Doug. I'll start off by just saying, misery loves company. I spent $5,000 on a plumbing correction in my house to stop a leak. Unbelievable. And the parts maybe cost $100.
Yeah.
When it comes to DeSantis, there's certainly a politician always wants to have as many relationships as possible to help him out. And I'm sure that they're all now coming over to him and say, if you run, we'll back you. So he put it in this book. he wants as much.
Well, what I'm telling you, listen, I love Ron DeSantis, and he's the greatest governor ever, and he saved us all in Florida during COVID, and he's doing wonderful work now. Don't misunderstand me. He's the greatest governor ever, and I love the guy. However, what I'm wondering is, was he recruited by the Bush minions at Yale? How did he be? How did he be? There's a lot of Bushy here in these 3 pages that Greg thinks are 2.
Well,
that was my. But thanks for the call. That was my favorite part of the call, actually. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Russell Jones, Hampton, South Carolina.
Oh, hey, South Carolina. What's up?
Hey, well, I just wanted to know if you're still talking about the Murdaugh.
Well, I was talking about I thought there was reasonable doubt in the case. I would have gone not guilty if I were on the jury. He probably did it, but I think there's some doubt. But you're in South Carolina.
Well, I know him personally, and yeah, he did it. Ain't no doubt in my mind.
Okay, he probably did.
Yeah, we're in Hampton. That's where the trial was in Colony County, which is next door to us. But he lives in Hampton County.
Mm-hmm.
I've known Alex 30 years, and he did it. There's no doubt in my mind. And I've been out at the hunting club, which is 1,700 acres, and I've been out there 100 times. And if you've been out there, there's no way that he could have been sleeping and his wife and son been murdered and him taking a nap.
You'd be surprised. Hold on a second here. Hold on a second. We're talking about a guy who's a hardcore pill popping addict, right? When I know, you know the guy. I know. When you're that high on pills, you could sleep through anything.
Yeah, that's been exaggerated. That's an excuse. I know the guy. He did do pills, but he's a functioning alcoholic, and there's no way that he could do that many.
So how well do you know him? How well do you know him?
I've known him for 30 years. My brother used to get the little redheaded guy that was in the court was a buster, and we used to give him golf lessons.
Yeah.
I've known Paul since he was a little kid, and I know these people.
Uh-huh.
I live with them.
Well, I'm not saying he did not do it. He probably did, but as an independent observer, as opposed to someone who's, got personal things like you do, I think there's a little reasonable doubt. There's the idea that he had 2 rifles, this drug addict had 2 rifles and didn't leave evidence all over the place. As a high guy, it just doesn't seem possible to me in the day and age of scientific forensic technology.
Well, what did him in was the video of this. He was down at the dog kennels.
Yeah, I know.
Rogan Brody, who I know him too. He was down there filming him. Paul was, and he lied about it. And he lied about it for 20 months.
Well, the thing about it is when you're questioned by authorities and, someone that you're connected to has been murdered, is it a good idea or a bad idea to place yourself at the scene of the crime?
Well, the thing you have to understand is he comes from 100.
No. I didn't ask about all the 100 years. Is it a good idea or a bad idea to tell the police you were at the scene of the crime?
Hear about your wife and your son and wanting to find out what happened.
Yeah, you're still didn't answer the yes or no. Is it a good idea to put yourself at the scene of the crime?
If you're innocent, yes.
Really? I don't know. When a spouse gets murdered, the other spouse is suspect number 1.
You have to understand the Murdaughs own this area.
I understand. I get it.
Yeah, they are the law, and
well, not anymore.
I've known these people all my life, and in fact, I'll give you a quick story. My brother was pulled over for DUI one night, and John Marvin, one of the guys that testified as his brother, he told my brother, "Don't even pull out your driver's license. Don't even pull them out." And a state trooper come up there, and my brother pointed in the back seat. The guy said, "Have a good night."
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, they own this area.
Well, not enough not to get convicted. Yeah.
Those days are over with. But I'm telling you, the Murdaugh.
Well, that right there tells me, listen, his son killed the girl in the boat accident, right? So, yeah, okay. So there's a lot of people in that town that hate these people, not just because of the killing of the girl, but because this Boss Hogg kind of guy, that's from Dukes of Hazzard, by the way, Boss Hogg, ticks off everybody in town. You probably got beef with him. So I don't know. I think that there is some reasonable doubt. He probably did it, but I wouldn't send him to prison for the rest of his life based on what I've heard in the trial. Not enough.
Your opinion is just about what everybody else is in here.
Well, because I'm impartial. I'm impartial. You've got a beef.
Not necessarily. Most of the people in Hampton believe he did it, but they say the same thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
Reasonable doubt.
Correct.
That's pretty much.
Come on, listen. I grew up here in the south of you in Florida, right? And I can easily see a couple of good old boys deciding justice was not done in that boating accident and taking justice into their own hands. You can't see some good old boys doing that?
Well,
Well, yeah. Oh, hey, listen, I appreciate the call. I'm up against a break. I got to run. But see, you kind of agreed with that at the end, right? Exactly. All right. If you're on hold, stand by. Back after this.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on the Steve Kane Show.
All right. And it's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing all right. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, one very important aspect of setting up a revocable living trust, which is the mechanism for estate planning that helps us avoid probate and guardianship. One very important part of it is once it's executed, it has to be funded. And a lot of people don't realize that if they don't put those assets into their trust, then those assets are still in their name and can go through probate. And one thing that people also need to realize is when you have a trust, you also have a will called a pour-over will. And that will actually says that those assets that are not in the trust will go into the trust at that person's death. The thing is, you don't want to depend on that because those assets will still go through probate. So it's very important to proactively fund your trust, and that's part of why when people come in for their 3-year reviews, we remind them to make sure everything's in their trust, even assets that they got years after signing their trust. A lot of times people forget, so it's very important to fund your trust fund.
Yeah, and the Siegel Law Group will review your trust for free, even if it was prepared by someone else. And a lot of times you probably find over there at the Siegel Law Group, Barry, that all kinds of things are left out of the trust, which means they're going to go through probate, right? What are some of the things that people don't have in their trust that you find?
Just about everything. Their real estate, maybe a second property, the one they acquired
wow,
years after setting up their trust, bank accounts, brokerage accounts, all kinds of things.
Wow, that could be a nightmare for a family who's grieving. Yeah. Listen, give the Siegel Law Group a call. When you mention you heard Attorney Barry Siegel on the radio, it's a free consultation with the Siegel Law Group. Okay. Now, the Siegel Law Group has offices throughout Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County, with their main office in Boca Raton. But no matter where you are in the state of Florida, the Siegel Law Group can help. Online at siegellawgroup.com or give them a call toll free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk next week. All right, back after this.
Warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the...
All right, I'm in trouble now, guys, because my wife is on hold. She sent me a text message. So my wife is on hold. So I don't know what I don't know. Did she call because Greg was asking if I would talk to the cops? I don't know We'll find out. Okay. My wife, Kathy. Hey, Kathy.
You're not in trouble.
Oh, okay.
I have a few things to say. First of all, about Greg too, I don't believe he's an attorney because he's been calling you for years and years and years. I have never heard him call and give a proper legal analysis on anything ever. And lawyers love to talk about the law and give analysis on cases. And of all the things you've talked about over the years that have gone on, like including this one, and other cases, Casey Anthony, I've never heard him call and give a proper legal analysis as a lawyer. So I don't think he's an attorney.
Well, it was also a tell when he thought pages 17 through 19 were 2, not 3 pages. He forgot about 18. Yeah.
Lying about that. As far as Ron DeSantis, what people need to understand, and I am very disturbed about what you read in the first chapter. And I really didn't believe all this stuff that he was connected to the deep state and all this until now. And this is what I think, and I really hate to say this because I love Ron DeSantis. I think he's fantastic. But what I'm starting to think is that he's been with the Bushes all along, and he used Trump to get elected because it was an act of desperation because he was losing big time. A lot of people don't realize that he was behind in the polls, and he went to Trump. It was kind of at the last minute to endorse him, and Trump did it, and he won. But he didn't have him help him the second time. And I almost started to think that he has been with the Bushes all along, and maybe was brought up with them and to take on this position. And he was losing, and they said to him, "Get Trump to endorse you, and you'll win." Just used Trump, and maybe he was never MAGA, and that kills me to say that, but that is now what I'm starting to worry about.
And listen, and this is the thing. This is in Ron DeSantis' own words in his book that just came out yesterday that I'm reading from.
And another thing people need to understand real quick is the fact that he wrote about this right off the bat. It tells you very much. It sets the tone for the book, and he wants you to know this right away. He doesn't talk about Trump in the first chapter or about meeting Trump or anything. I know he's probably doing it chronologically. But he doesn't have to tell this story about George Bush. He doesn't need to tell.
No, there's two. Yeah.
The fact that he's telling this right off the bat says a lot about who he is and what he wants you to know about him. And that to me is extremely telling.
That's right.
To tell this story. But he's telling this story right out of the gate because he is setting a tone and he wants everyone to know, I'm with these guys.
I'm with the Bushies. Well, if I were him, my book, if I were him, I would have began by telling the story about getting the Trump endorsement. That would have been like a little teaser in the beginning. No. All right. Now, for all of you callers out there who complain that I hang up on callers, I'm about to hang up on my wife. I even hang up on her. Every phone call's got to end in a hang up. All right, Kathy, I'll see you soon. All right. Yeah, good. Now, my wife, Kathy, I was just talking to, by the way, for 10 years, we have co-hosted my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast, and Kathy co-hosts with me. And the Brian Craig Show podcast is on all podcast platforms, including iHeartRadio, Spotify. We're even on Audible. And the Brian Craig Show podcast has been named the number 3 must-listen-to conservative podcast in America. I'm not kidding. Number 1 was Mark Levin, which should not even count because that's just a rebroadcast of his radio show. Number 2, Glenn Beck's The Blaze. And the number 3, named the number 3 must-listen-to conservative podcast in America, the Brian Craig Show podcast that I host with my wife, Kathy. All right. So let's go back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. It's Andrea.
Hey, Andrea.
So your wife made some really, really great points. So in my opinion about Ron DeSantis, I think he's a great governor.
Absolutely.
Well, COVID beautifully. I think what he's doing in Florida is beautiful. But here's my thing. My grandmother always told me this. How you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're talking about a person who basically used somebody to get elected, and all of a sudden
wanted. There's no loyalty. In my opinion, we can't expect him to like have loyalty or do the things that he's running on, because it's at that point it's part of his nature. So I'm disturbed that he hasn't come out and said that he wouldn't run against Trump. I'm disturbed about what happened the other day at the book signing with the Trump people wearing Trump gear, and now this. So for me, I think he's a great governor.
He's the best governor. Ron DeSantis is the best governor ever. But there's a lot of questions here. And listen, if anyone over at Mar-a-Lago is listening today, you know, this book of Ron DeSantis's, I'm only on page 17 through 19 here. It seems to me that what my wife said is correct. Ron DeSantis may have been with the Bush family all along, and we didn't know it until he outed himself in this book of his that came out yesterday. And I it pains me to say this because I love the guy, but there's a lot of things going on now. And when President Trump says he knows things, I think we're getting some indicators now what some of those things are.
And I 100% agree with you. And I'm just going to say one thing about Greg too. How long have I been calling you now? Like a little bit, maybe a year and a half?
Not sure. I don't know.
So, in all this time that I've called, I've heard Greg too call and tell you exactly how to run your radio show.
Mm-hmm.
And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again. If Greg too is so knowledgeable on how to do a radio show and a podcast, then he should definitely just do that.
Well, I think, well, first we need to teach him how to count to 3. That was brutal. All right, Andrea, take care. Oh my goodness. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, did we interrupt something? Oh no, that's me. That's me in the background on the delay. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Oh my goodness. Turn the volume down. Turn the volume down. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian.
Yes.
IB in Broward. Yesterday about Greg too. My God, everybody beat me to the punch, especially your wife. I have had 4 years of probate, so I know what it's like looking at lawyers face to face, looking at judges and hearing them play with words. Kathy might have beat me to the punch. He might not be a lawyer because he's certainly awful. Yesterday when he called and talked to you about the Disney situation, he's noticed how petty these guys are. They always play on words. Pencil neck geek, I call it. Wear ladies' underwear, okay? Because he's a girly man.
Okay.
The glee in his voice when he calls you, that smile like he's gonna get you. He's gonna finally get you. It's like the road runner and the coyote.
Yeah.
And they get caught.
Right? Yeah, that's true.
You could just hear the smile in his voice trying to get you. We got all these big problems going on in the country, and he wants to know how much you pay. And
uh-oh. The phone went dead, like in Failsafe with Henry Fonda. What was that about? Good morning. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Fallen.
What's your name?
From Arizona border. Fallen.
Fallen in Arizona.
Yes, I'm on the border. I'm a constitutional lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys are talking about politics today, right?
Yes.
And okay. I want everybody to pay attention to subsection 4 in your Constitution.
I
know that big Trump supporters, okay? We love Trump. Okay, but I want everybody to understand that we're dealing with one bird right now. Okay, our state, our borders.
Okay, no. I know. Oh my goodness. I know where that call is going, and we're not going there. Sorry, Fallen. You've fallen off the line. All right, we're coming up on the top of the hour. That was a pre-dump. She was going somewhere where I would have to hit the dump button, but that was a pre-dump. I did a little profiling there. I'm not going to tell you what she was going to say, or I'd have to dump myself. All right, callers on hold, stand by. 1 hour to go. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. My name is Brian Craig. There is one opening on our board at 1-888-GO-CANE-1, 888-465-2631. Don't forget, Alexa, play True Oldies FLA. Alexa, volume 8. Hey, Google, play True Oldies FLA. Hey, Google, volume 8. We'll be right back after this break.
WWNN Palmetto.
What article and section of the Constitution did she? I just forgot. I was going to look it up. That's right. I know. I turn on the devices. Was it just section 4 or was it more detailed? I think it was more detailed. Was it just section 4? No. If you read it, you can see she was going exactly where I thought she was going to go. Hey, I've been doing this long enough. I was on alert as soon as she says, "Oh, I'm a constitutional attorney." Then I knew something bad was coming, and reading that, no doubt. Yeah. Read the last 2 words of section 4. Steve Kane Show. Hold on. Oh my goodness.
Traffic is service of Palm Beach Kennel Club. Lots of exciting events.
It's the way it is. These aren't my rules. No. You can't, not some guy in his bedroom. Okay, bye, Patriot Poodle. No. You have to be careful what you say on any show. And where she was going is out of bounds. And if she's really an attorney, she knows that. If she's really an attorney, she knows that. A practicing attorney. If Fallon is really an attorney, she would know what the problem was with what she was about to say. There's a lot of liberals who try to do things by saying things and get you to talk about things that are not allowed. And I'm not talking about YouTube. I'm talking about in public.
If you're looking to move out of your parents' place, you can really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial. They're blood related. You'd think it would be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renters and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
Or good morning mean a lot to me, but after being diagnosed with metastatic breast cancer, or MBC, which is breast cancer that is spread to other parts of the body, they mean even more. I take Ibrance, palbociclib. Ibrance 125 milligram tablets with an aromatase inhibitor is for adults with HR-positive, HER2-negative MBC as the first hormonal-based therapy. Ask your doctor about Ibrance and visit Ibrance.com. Ibrance may cause low white blood cell counts that may lead to serious infections. Ibrance may cause severe inflammation of the lungs. Both of these can lead to death. Tell your doctor right away if you have new or worsening symptoms, including trouble breathing, shortness of breath, cough, or chest pain. Before taking Ibrance, tell your doctor if you have fever, chills, or other signs of infection, liver or kidney problems, are or plan to become pregnant, or are breastfeeding. Common side effects include low red blood cell and low platelet counts, infections, tiredness, nausea, sore mouth, abnormalities in liver blood tests, diarrhea, hair thinning or loss, vomiting, rash, and loss of appetite.
All right, welcome back. There's only one opening on the board. I'm Brian. Steve joining us. Hey, Steve. I'm doing good, and the phones are on fire. Yeah. But before we go back to our phones, I want to tell everyone about this incredible cruise down the Douro River in Portugal through Portuguese wine country from Select Tours. This is amazing, guys. Listen to this. Not only is this amazing and a once-in-a-lifetime trip that you'll take. I mean, this is amazing. It's a great deal, too. Now, the Douro River Cruise with Select Tours, you know about these river cruises. You've seen them on TV. It's August 23rd through September 2nd and is limited to just 15 couples. Now, you can go as a single, but limited to just 15 couples. That means 30 people. Greg, who can't count to 3. Now, if you book before March 31st, free airfare to Lisbon, Portugal, the capital of Portugal, no matter where you are in the U.S., and also included, if you book by March 31st, high-speed rail from Lisbon to Porto, where your luxury riverboat is waiting for you. Now, Porto is where all the top port wines come from in the world, and this cruise is through wine country. It's a first-class experience, and it's a wine sampling tour, and there's also culinary events down the entire river. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, and tips are included. And this time of year through wine country, this is the best time of year. The grapes are on the vines. And as the boat goes down the river, you're seeing all the vineyards with the grapes. You're going to stop at the vineyards along the way, sample the wines, and also sample grapes right off the vine. This is a trip you will remember for the rest of your life. To learn more or to request a brochure online, brianportugal.com. brianportugal.com, or call 512-351-6643. 512-351-6643. All right. Well, the lines are ringing like crazy, Steve. I can't even keep up with them. What do you want to do? Okay, we've uncovered a lot on the show today, and I've lost track of who's called when. So I'm taking these randomly. You might have been on hold a minute, or you might have been on hold 39 minutes. I don't know. I've lost track. So let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Hi, Brian. My name is Michael. I'm calling from Denver, Colorado. How are you?
All right, Denver.
All right. So I just wanted to touch on a story that came out from Vice News about something your governor is doing, Ron DeSantis. So, interesting story here. Ron DeSantis, this past week, so basically what he did, he handpicked a board of trustees for this college in Sarasota, Florida called New College. And what that board did over this past week, they voted to get rid of the college's diversity, equity, and inclusion office. This was the latest step.
Okay, now slow down. That sounds like a good thing. They got rid of the diversity office, so that's a good thing DeSantis did, right?
Right. Well, I'm not can I finish with the rest, a little bit more of this story, because there's more to it.
All right, back to the prepared statement. Go ahead. Trying to have a conversation, but that's okay.
It's right. So this board, DeSantis appointed a lot of the people on this board, and it's, this school is a tiny liberal arts school. It's a mostly progressive student body. His critics are saying that he made an effort to appoint this board so that he can get his political agenda in, and he can use this school as kind of an example for
that sounds like a good thing. What's wrong with his agenda?
Well, the thing is,
do you think we could have? Do you think we should have these diversity committees that have these safe spaces set up and everything? Why do this is a let me ask you this question about this college. You're telling me it's a liberal school. Why do you need a diversity office in a liberal school? Since it's run by liberals, shouldn't it just automatically be diverse since liberals are in charge of everything?
Well, I think the point here is that he's appointing his own board members.
So what? So what? That's why we elected him. That's what we want. Yes. We want liberals out of the colleges.
Okay, well, I understand that, but it's this story just caught my eye. I know you say you take calls on anything.
No, I'm glad you called. I'm just disagreeing with you. Why would a liberal college need a diversity office to make sure there were enough gays, blacks, and other minorities in the school? Being liberal, should it not automatically be a place of diversity? Why does a liberal college need a diversity office to make sure that the faculty and the student body is diverse? If they're liberal, I'm trying to figure that out.
Well, I think that's a good question.
What is your answer to it? Do you have an answer?
Well,
I know it's a good question. I crafted it.
Yeah, and I was just going to make the point. Sometimes I feel like, when the media has a story, like, for example, the story about the cartoon writer that made some of those statements, they categorize, everyone in that group as being racist. They categorize the whole group of white people as being racist, when in reality, it was just one person that made that statement. But when they categorize it,
No, you're getting off on. I don't want to talk about Dilbert now. You brought up Ron DeSantis. He appointed people to this board that are like him politically. That's why we elect governors. When a state elects a governor, you want them to make appointments based on what their belief system are. And his belief system is what the majority of Floridians believe in. That's why he was elected and reelected. I don't need some liberal. I don't. You're in one of the most liberal parts of the country.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just wanted to get your opinion on what DeSantis is doing at this college. I'm not saying
What's your opinion on Donald Trump?
My opinion on Donald Trump, I think he made a lot of good policy changes. I think he improved the economy. I think that.
Are you in college now?
I am not. I'm actually 26 years old.
How long have you been out of college?
I've been out of college, God. I graduated at 21, so I've been
long time. You're a little, I'm trying to figure out. You conservative? You liberal? What's your political beliefs?
I always try to remain centrist.
Oh, that means liberal. Okay, so you're liberal.
From both sides of the aisle, right?
There's no meeting of the minds. The liberals believe in terrible, evil things, and there's no middle ground between liberalism and conservatism. You're either conservative or liberal. There's no middle ground.
Well, the thing is, I think when you don't take a definite stance on something, you get attacked from both sides a lot of times. Everyone wants to say, well, what is your stance?
Okay, are you for or are you pro-life or pro-abortion?
Well, I'm against abortion.
Okay.
That in certain cases that.
I don't know. I'm getting kind of, let me tell you about you. Okay. You're a good guy and thank you for listening. But if you have no opinion, really, you're not good to us as a caller. This is a place where people come to have opinions, not walk in the middle of the road. He's a liberal. He's a liberal. You're in.
Well, I'm saying.
No, we're saying you're a liberal. No. We're saying you're a liberal. See, this is the deal with you, okay? As a liberal, you're a smart liberal, and there aren't too many of those out there. A smart liberal. You're a rare breed. As a smart liberal, you know that as a liberal, you have no credibility. So you're trying to pretend that you're something you're not so you can have some shred of credibility with your liberalism. But listen, we're late for the break. Thanks for your call. You're in Colorado. All right, when's the last time you got high? You're in Colorado. Last time you smoked weed?
I don't smoke marijuana.
When's the last time you got high?
I don't smoke.
There's other drugs. There's other drugs. Oh my goodness. See what I mean? I don't smoke marijuana, but there's other drugs, which I'm sure you're aware of. All right. We'll take our break and be back.
Don't sit on the sidelines.
I don't smoke marijuana. Oh my goodness. Hey. Oh, never mind. Oh my goodness. I don't smoke marijuana. I didn't ask him if he smokes marijuana. I asked him when the last time he got high was. Exactly. What's he? Exactly.
You can use this money for insulation and radiant barrier. Up to $2,800 available. Hybrid hot water heaters up to $3,750 available. AC units up to $10,000 available. Electric panel upgrades up to $6,600. And after we reduce your home consumption by 35% or more, you get additional rebate money of $4,000 to $8,000 if you qualify. To find out how much you qualify for, call me 954-939-1500.
Oh my goodness. Welcome everyone. If you're just joining us, make sure you like the video, everyone. I know most of you have not liked the video yet this morning. Please like the video. Oh man. Great calls today.
I'm so glad you're here. Relax movers caused me a lot of grief. Now I can relax.
We move people forward. Find us at twomenpalmbeach.com and twomentreasurecoast.com. Two men and a truck.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I can get you incredible deals on any tire.
Well, thank you,
I
Phil.
also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445. Thank you.
We are back for our March West Palm Beach Antique and Art Festival.
That guy's not much of a caller. He's all over the place.
The West Palm Beach Antique Festival, Friday, March 3rd through Sunday, March 5th at the South.
I was late for the break. I had to cut it quick. Exactly. I don't smoke marijuana. When's the last time you got high? I don't smoke marijuana. I know, but when's the last time you got? I don't smoke marijuana. Oh my goodness.
Friday, March 3rd, Saturday the 4th, and Sunday the 5th. Hundreds of vendors. See you there. Visit the South Florida Fairgrounds website.
Fence sitters are not good for radio show callers.
You could really cut expenses by bundling your car and renter's insurance with Progressive, which is good because your little brother has gotten really territorial.
Crypto Kid, I like that.
It will be fine to share food in the fridge. I mean, who writes their name on every individually wrapped slice of cheese, Tyler? Still, you've got to admire the commitment. So bundle your renter's and car insurance with Progressive and use the savings to help you move out and have all the cheese you want. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided and serviced by affiliates and third-party insurers.
On the air since 1977, it's the Steve Kane Show.
All right, callers on hold, stand by. We're going to go back to our overloaded phone lines in just a moment. I got to ask you a question, Steve. What's your favorite dish at Anne Marie's in Pompano? That's a tough one. Oh, the lobster ravioli? You know, I got to tell you, that is so insane because that's what I was going to say. The lobster ravioli at Anne Marie's, everything is homemade at Anne Marie's, including the ravioli, the pasta. And the lobster ravioli is made with fresh Maine lobster, and they make it with the claw meat from the lobster, which is the best meat in the lobster. And that was the first thing that each of us had a bite of. The first thing we tasted at Anne-Marie's was the lobster ravioli. You ordered it as an appetizer. I never would have even imagined it to order that. And I took that first bite of that first ravioli, and I knew we were in someplace special because it's so delicious. Exactly. With your Italian grandmother, right? But it's an interesting thing that we both agree that our favorite dish at Anne-Marie's is the lobster ravioli, which comes as an appetizer or entree. But no matter what, yeah, the meat lovers pizza is spectacular. I love the Sicilian, which is the best Sicilian I've ever had over there. But no matter what I order at Anne-Marie's, if it's one of the Italian favorites like lasagna, if it's the Sicilian pizza, no matter what it is, I always order the lobster ravioli appetizer. It goes with everything. And I've had the lobster ravioli more than any other dish at Anne-Marie's because I always order it as an appetizer. It's delicious. Not only is everything homemade, including the sauces with Grandma's recipes, the portions are massive. They're huge portions. In fact, I've never ordered a dish that I didn't take home and have for a second meal. What I didn't eat while I was in Anne-Marie's. The portions are pretty much every portion is for two. And by the way, that goes for the lunch specials. The lunch special portions are huge. I went over there and I ordered takeout, Steve, and I just ordered 2 slices on the lunch special while I was waiting. It was like a personal pizza. The 2 slices were massive. Anne-Marie's is open for lunch, dinner, and takeout. They have live entertainment and music on the weekends. They're located in Pompano on the northwest corner of US 1 Federal Highway in Copans Road in the same plaza as the movie theater. When you stop at Anne-Marie's, make sure you tell them you heard about them on the radio. All right, there's one opening on our board at 1-888-GO-KANE-1. You're on the air. What's your name? Yep. Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, this is Helen from Kansas.
Oh, hold on, Helen. Go ahead. Yes, Steve.
A consummate liberal. He does, if you ask him,
yeah,
he doesn't even think he's a liberal.
That's right.
He just thinks he sees things
clearly.
In reality.
Clearly.
He sees things clearly as they are, as they exist.
And that
no bias. That's how liberals are. If you ask me, I'm not going to tell you I'm neutral. I'm going to tell you I'm a conservative.
Yeah, and there were 2 questions I asked him that were very revealing. He started the first one. He called and he's upset that Ron DeSantis did away with the diversity office at this college. And I asked him, well, he said it was a liberal college. If it's a liberal college, if everyone's liberal, why do you need an office of diversity? Isn't it just automatically diverse because it's run by liberals? Didn't have an answer for that. And then I loved how the call ended. When I asked him, you're in Colorado, when's the last time you got high? He says, I don't smoke marijuana. I said, I know. When's the last time I don't smoke marijuana? He didn't say he didn't get high. He just told us repeatedly he doesn't smoke marijuana as if that's the only thing that gets you high. Very, very interesting answers that we got from Colorado. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, this is Helen from Kansas.
Oh, yes, Helen.
Okay, you guys were talking about the Bushes. Well, you remember George H. Bush talking about the New World Order, and it shall come to pass, it shall be. And Isaiah chapter 8, verses 11 through 18. Say ye not a confederacy, which is basically like agreeing with a New World Order, to all them who, to whom is this people shall say a confederacy. Neither fear ye their fear, nor be afraid. Sanctify the Lord of hosts himself, and let him be your fear, and let him be your dread.
That sounds good. I'll agree with all that. She's reading from the scriptures. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, it's Juan from Florida.
Hey, Juan.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier, but that's not what I called about. You mentioned earlier about the hang-ups. You know, when you hung up with your wife, that's a good hang-up. It's a respectful hang-up. It's a loving hang-up. There's different types of hang-ups. You know, and what your audience complains about is that, you know, usually your hang-ups are abrupt with the audience, but I guarantee you wouldn't hang up on Steve the way you would hang up.
Well, Steve's not a caller. Steve's not a caller. It's the Steve Kane Show. I don't hang up on Steve.
Well, I understand. But there's different types of...
Okay, so what did I... So why don't you just be honest and say, tell us you're pissed off because I've hung up on you and you didn't like it, instead of hiding behind all these callers.
Yeah, of course, and this is what I'm talking about. There's different types of hang-ups, though, but that's not what I call about. The reason I call about it is that DeSantis, you know, our great governor, which I support, it's disappointing that he's a bushy. And
oh yeah,
the thing is, I look at what you do, and he governs like a Trump. He might be a bushy, but he governs like a Trump, and by governing like a Trump is the reason why he won the second election by the most.
All right, now slow down one. Okay, and we're coming up to a break, so I'll give you a warning. This call will end more abruptly than you might want because we got a break. Here's the thing. The next president of the United States is going to have to get us out of this war in Europe that Biden is starting so he can get 10% for the big guy, okay? Only Trump can end this war. DeSantis is going to, if he were to get the nomination, is going to run against U.S. involvement in Ukraine. But about a month or two after he becomes president and the donors put the screws to him, he'll say, well, now I got the briefings and we got to do what's right for the free people of Ukraine, and the war will continue. He can't stand up to the donors and because he's owned by the Bush donors, unlike President Trump, who doesn't care about the donors. That's very important.
But again, I mean, I don't know. I mean, if he attends to the presidency,
he's the greatest governor ever. There's no, I'm not taking anything but being president is different. By the way, what's his position on Ukraine? He was asked about it yesterday and wouldn't answer.
And how about the timing of the book? Also, that's another question, because he didn't come out with that before. He should have come out with that, you know, a long time.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're out of time because I took the last break late. Sorry, Juan, the call is now over. Okay, we'll take our break for the bottom of the hour and be right back.
Making morning radio great again. I think you're gonna really love it. It's the Steve.
Does no one pay attention when you quote unquote hang up on them? You go, thanks for the call.
Every call I say that to. There's not a caller I don't say it to.
Do they ignore that?
Even if they're rude to me. Yeah.
They got to thanks for the call. Boom. That's the hint of, okay, bye, I gotta go. That's for like, well, I understand that a lot of different places too. It's just that,
yeah.
Hey, we're moving on. That happens a lot. What you see is they want to talk before you even finish.
Exactly.
Where luxurious outdoor spaces are created.
Palm Beach Kennel Club. Palm Beach commutes still in pretty good shape this morning on the expressways. No accidents to report at this time. We are seeing some slower traffic on up on 2 Lake River and Boynton Beach Boulevard. Still up to speed.
No, I think this book of Ron DeSantis's, I think, has been pretty revealing, guys. What do you guys think?
Traffic is service. Kennel Club. Lots of exciting events at PBKC with the poker rooms. $100,000 guaranteed Monster Multi-Flight Tournament March 2nd through the 5th. And get tickets for comedian Joe DeVito from the Gutfeld Show in the Paddock on March 10th. And the St. Patrick's Day Party March 17th. The delicious Irish buffet, live music, and dancers.
Because the Constitution says so. Because we live in a society that's not an anarchy. Okay, I got to take that home. I got to record some commercials this weekend, so I got to take some of these things home to write some new commercials. No, the DeSantis campus said nothing about that book signing, Wesley, nothing.
This is Steve Kane. I want to tell you about my favorite restaurant in all of South Florida, Wings Plus in Coral Springs. Wings just the way you like them. Plump, tender, and delicious, crispy on the outside, succulent on the inside, everything homemade, nothing comes out of a can. Dozens of specialty sauces that will make your mouth water. Wings Plus, located in Coral Springs, a mile west of University on the south side of Sample Road. Florida homeowner, and you know that real estate is selling for the highest prices ever. With so many listing their house, you want your house to stand out above the rest and to get top dollar. That's where licensed real estate agent Elena Castro comes in. She's with Ballesteri Real Estate that's been in business since 1964, working with homeowners, buyers, landlords, and tenants for over 18 years. Elena Castro knows Florida real estate and has a proven record of smooth transactions, as well as top negotiation talents. When you list your property with Elena Castro, she knows the right listing price to get you multiple offers, so you accept the offer you want. And if you're looking to buy, she can help you with that too. Give Elena Castro a call right now. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015. Get your house listed and sold for the price you want. 954-478-5015. 954-478-5015. You rid me of my years of suffering and knee pain. You rid me of my arthritis pain. He's also helped many of our listeners too. Listen to one of our callers tell us about the experience they had with on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling?
Oh, man. Guilty. They found him guilty.
Monday through Saturday, appointments not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. 973-0710.
Hello, this is Mike at Friendly Tire. I've been in business 30 years at the same location and offering great deals on new and used tires. I have many suppliers. Whatever car or truck you have, I get you incredible deals on any tire. I also do tire repairs at very low prices. Give me a call. My number is 954-977-9445. I will give you a price over the phone on new and used tires. Again, my number is 954-977-9445.
Yeah, this is a good hat. My mother-in-law gave me this hat.
Thank you.
Now, back to the Steve Kane Show, celebrating 45.
All right, welcome back. The phones are very busy. Steve Kane here. I'm Brian. I want to tell people this is important. Well, everything we say is important, right? If you miss an episode of the Steve Kane Show or you miss a portion of the show, every day about an hour after we go off the air, the entire show is uploaded to our radio station website as a podcast, TrueOldiesFLA.com. And when you go to TrueOldiesFLA.com, you can even download the show on your computer if you want. So if you called in and you want to hear your call or grab your call to show off to your friends, you can pull it off at TrueOldiesFLA.com too. And I just want to point out, Steve, if you go there, I did not know the radio station was doing this until a couple days ago. But they're not just putting the show up and saying, okay, it's Tuesday's show. The shows are titled based on what we're talking about, and they're time-stamped throughout the show of what we were talking about at that particular moment, okay? And it tells you where in the show it is. Like yesterday, it's all very detailed. I mean, it's like 1,000 words. At 1 hour and 57 minutes, Steve joins the show. And it's pretty good. At 2 hours and 23 minutes, caller discusses Ukraine-Russian war and Zelensky using Nazis as troops. And so it's very detailed description. So when you go to trueoldiesfla.com, you can easily find the part of the show you're looking for if you missed a part of it. So guys, please do that. And never miss, if you miss the show live, shame on you. But if you do, trueoldiesfla.com. And the shows are archived up there forever. All right. Okay. Let's go to our very busy phones. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey.
Yes, you're on the air.
Brian. Oh, Brian, how are you?
All right.
Wanted to call in and say you're doing a great job. I enjoy your show. This is my first time calling in. So
then we'll be nice. Welcome to the program. Welcome to the
yeah. I wanted to get back to. I'm calling from Los Angeles, and I wanted to just briefly touch on. You brought up DeSantis, and I just wanted to bring up the elephant in the room. In that, I believe that DeSantis, with the undoing of Disney, will be his undoing. I believe that he to take on Disney. See, Americans. One thing Americans don't like is for you to give us something and then take it away. And when the reading company was established by Walt Disney, it was under the assumption that they would have basically self-governance and was free of interference.
Okay, well, here's the problem. Okay, when Mr. Walt Disney came to Florida, he made a deal with the Republican governor, and Walt Disney himself, Mr. Walt Disney, I don't mean the company, Mr. Walt Disney was a very, very strong anti-union conservative Republican man. And the idea that they would be using his wonderful Walt Disney Company, which just celebrated 100 years since he founded that company with his brother Roy Disney, they were using it to further things that he probably wouldn't even understand, like all this gender confusion and all this stuff going on. I think Walt Disney would agree with Governor DeSantis. And DeSantis didn't just take on Disney, he broke Disney. Well, he won against Disney.
He may have won the battle, but the war, I believe he'll lose. In that.
Well, now let me slow down and tell you why. Okay, now Disney World here in Florida, which had its own government, its own city, covers an area that's the size of San Francisco. Big area. It's about the size of LA. And now the people that run Disney World are a commission of people that are appointed by the governor, whoever the governor is, moving forward. If Disney steps out of line, for the very first time, they'll have building inspectors and fire inspectors come in that don't work for them. So he's got a lot of power over. Now, I know they got some woke crap coming out, like the Peter Pan where the Lost Boys are chicks. I mean, come on, the Lost Boys are not girls, but they are in this. You got to give them a lot of these things were in production long ago. Give them a couple years when they get these woke things done. The wokeness is ending at Disney because Ron DeSantis now controls Disney World. And that's a big cash cow for them. And and believe me, the wokeness will end.
Well, I say that in that growing up in Southern California, we of course always went to Disneyland and saw the impact that the Disney company had in Anaheim, and particular in Anaheim, from where it started out to be to where it is today. It's a multi-billion-dollar cash cow. So they have a lot of.
Well, okay. There's a new Disney cartoon which I watched. I'm a big fan of Disney. Okay, there's a new cartoon. It's on Disney Plus. It's a new movie called Strange World. I was shocked. It's about a family of explorers, and the grandson is learning to be an explorer in granddad's footsteps. he's got a crush on a boy in his class. He's got a crush on a boy in his class, and his father and grandfather give him tips on how to pick up this guy. What do you think Mr. Walt Disney would think of that? What do you even you in Southern California don't know what to say to that. It's so bizarre.
It's bizarre. I'll leave it.
Well, yeah, exactly. So Walt Disney himself would be with Governor DeSantis when it comes to Disney. They're destroying his legacy. All right, take it. Thanks for the welcome to the show. Okay, I know he's stunned to hear that. Even a Southern California man is shocked by what Disney has done. Well, that's just the new movie that's out. That's a brand new movie that's out. Strange World. Now, listen, Disney's going to have a bunch of woke stuff coming out. These movies take years to make, especially the animated, but they're phasing it out. I'm here to tell you they're phasing it out. And Ron DeSantis may be in with the Bushies, but he did a good thing with Disney. All right, let's go back to the phone. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Tom from Florida.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Tom.
Hey, just a quick question. I mean, I don't know if you guys heard this the other day, okay? I'm not a fan. I know Brian is. I don't know about Steve. But Marjorie Taylor Greene.
The greatest.
A statement, okay, that she believes that we should start dividing the country up into red and blue states. And
slow down. That's not what she said, and she didn't do that. That very idea that there are. Do you agree or disagree that there are red states and blue states?
I agree on that.
Okay, so what are you criticizing her for? That's been around since the 70s.
Well, it's open Friday, Mike night. So it's open Friday.
You think it's nighttime? It's not nighttime.
What is your?
It's morning.
Brian, and Steve, what is your opinion on the separation of states, the way I know that she suggests?
There already is a separation. There already are separations of states, okay? Georgia, okay? If I jump the border to Georgia and enroll in college, I got to pay 3 times tuition that I would pay in Florida. There's already a separation of states. She talked about a national divorce. What's going on right now? Well, I'm going to explain it to you, So now, slow down. We're here till 9, man. Okay, and I don't know if you're going to understand. I don't know if you're going to understand what I explained to you because you thought it was nighttime. It's only 8:42 in the morning. Okay, you thought it was nighttime a second ago, but I'll
blow in your mouth. Just get to the point.
Oh, I'm not wasting time. I'm humoring the audience by mocking you. But here's what's going here. No, you're not humoring the audience. You're not humoring the audience. I'm humoring the audience.
That we're avoiding.
The national divorce, he thinks.
National divorce. Hey, there you go. Okay. And to show that he has
a stroke.
Is the national? No, you are. Listen, the national divorce. Is it a good idea?
It's a good idea, and it's happening right now. Now listen for a second. Stop talking and listen for a second, okay? What's going on right now in the United States is the largest migration of Americans in the history of America. People are leaving blue states and moving to red states, okay? And numbers that have never happened before. I notice it on the roads. You know, I say this a lot on the air because you can turn right on red in Florida is very important to get the word out about that. All these blue state people don't know that. I was driving down 595 to the airport. I was almost killed by these new transplants that don't know where they're going. So that's what she's talking about. And I think that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing when we live in states, when we live in community. Like I was talking yesterday on my street, almost my entire street has been sold to new people in the last year because real estate prices are high. Anytime the real estate agents come over and show a house on my street, or there's an open house, I put my MAGA hat on, I go outside and walk all over the place because I want the people looking to know that I'm MAGA. I don't want liberals living on my street. I want to live on a MAGA street with good conservative people, okay? So living in a community of like-minded people is a good thing. It makes us a happier community and a happier country. If you want liberals, go to San Francisco, where they go number 2 on the street and leave needles.
But can I ask you a quick question? Do you think that the division in America is what makes us? I mean, I think one of the famous most Republicans said it the best: "The house divided against itself will not stand." I believe that was Abraham Lincoln, correct?
You tell me. You're quoting.
Okay, yeah. Well, I'm just saying I believe it was.
He was talking. You believe it was? You're not yet. Yes, it was.
Ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Did he tell me to piss off? I think he told me to piss
What do you
off.
think Abraham Lincoln would say if he visited San Francisco?
Oh my goodness.
What do you think?
Thank
What
you
would his
for
reaction be?
the intelligent. That was an intelligent rebuttal, and I will say that he would probably be applauded for what we are.
Applaud? What's a Steve? You went. What's a? Oh, he would applaud. He would be applaud. He would be applaud.
He would be applauding what's going on with bodies, homeless bodies.
People going number 2 on the sidewalk and leaving drug needles on the sidewalk. He would applaud that.
I believe that when it comes to the devices, being divisive, it is very dangerous. And when you start making comments, and especially when it comes to people who are, Trump and Marjorie Taylor Greene, they take it and run. And
Well, we got Tom. We gotta run for a break, but I want to leave you with this. Marjorie Taylor Greene is the most powerful Republican in Washington. Trump's at Mar-a-Lago. He's not in Washington. Marjorie Taylor Greene is President Trump's direct representative in D.C. She's more powerful. No, she's more powerful than Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie Taylor Greene is the greatest woman ever in the halls of Congress. Thanks for your call. We'll be right back.
The cold, hard truth. Delivered morning 6 to 9 right here on The Steve Kane Show.
All right, and it's the highlight of the show each day at this time when we check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated with the Morning Gold and Precious Metals Report. William Youngerman, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. Precious metals are doing excellent after having taken a nice bounce off the bottom from 1805 on gold. Now gold we see up to 1835.90 yesterday after trading in a range of $1,830 to $1,840. Silver closed down 6 cents yesterday at $20.90, while platinum gained $5 at $9.62. And palladium was up $8 at $1,360. This morning we got a big rally going on in gold. Gold up $10.70 right now at $1846.60. Silver up 17 cents at $21.06 the ounce. Back over that important $21 number. We did get down there, but to about $20.50. Found great support. A lot of buying coming in on that number, and now it's up 17 cents at $21.06. Platinum up $11 at $9.73, and palladium down $14 at $13.46. So the market's doing very well. I've been given us this nice buying opportunity, and glad to see a lot of Steve Kane listeners took advantage of it down at those lower prices.
Well, what are the buy recommendations today, William Youngerman?
Absolutely, still love gold, silver, and platinum. All three of them. You've got to have all three of them in your portfolio.
Absolutely. And I was talking to a friend of mine yesterday on the phone. He's having some money problems, and he's like, "Have you seen the stock market lately?" I said, "The stock market, that's like Bitcoin to me. Buy gold, buy silver." Call William Youngerman. Because if people that are invested in the metals, I never hear any anxiety from them. If things are down a little bit, they're like, "Oh, awesome, I can get some more." I never hear anxiety from people that are invested in the metals that I hear from people that are in crypto or stocks and all that stuff. All right, give William Youngerman a call. He opens up at 10 a.m. His number, 1-800-327-5010, 1-800-327-5010. Online, WilliamYoungerman.com, or stop right in. And a lot of these medals that William Youngerman talks about are on display, including those 100-ounce silver bars and things on display in his store, which is really not so much a store as it is a museum at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk next week. All right, back after this.
Social justice warriors for breakfast. Now the Steve Kane Show is on the air.
Oh, man. The show is flown by, Steve, and the phones are still ringing. The show's hot. And we've had some, let me tell you, this show is the longest running radio show in the state of Florida, the Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. And this is the 46th year of the Steve Kane Show on the radio. I've not been with the show the whole time, but most of it. I got to tell you, and in the last few weeks, the quality of caller to this program has risen to the highest level that it's ever been, in my opinion. And that even goes for the liberal lunatics and, people like the last guy, Tom. The callers to this program are just a higher level of caller than most radio shows get. I must say, even those of you that give us grief, I'm very impressed with our callers, making the show more interesting and difficult. Good morning. You're on the air. Oh, boy. Maybe I should retract that last statement. You're on the radio. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once, twice. Okay, maybe I retract that statement for that caller. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Mike from Stewart.
Hey, Mike. From MAGA, Martin County.
I have a question for Steve.
Oh, here we go.
You think if everything was the same in Ukraine and Trump was still president?
Would Brian do what? What was the question you asked, Steve? Would Brian's
position be the same on Ukraine? That Zelensky is a terrorist and we should stay out of it?
I didn't say he's a terrorist.
Sorry for the hyperbole. I didn't, just that he's not a good guy.
Let me repeat. I can't believe you live in Martin County with these bizarre opinion towards MAGA people. But oh boy, he's the one liberal, and must be the hairdresser up there in Stewart. He asked you, if Trump were president and Trump was supporting Zelensky, would I be opposed to U.S. involvement in Ukraine? That's what he asked you.
If Trump were president, I'd sleep much better at night.
There'd be no war with Russia and Ukraine. It wouldn't have happened.
Because I kind of expected that.
Listen, Putin took over Crimea. Who was president when Putin took Crimea?
Obama.
Okay. Putin made a move on Ukraine. Who was president when he made that move? Okay, so why did he not make a move in the 4 years of Trump's first term?
He was ramping up. I don't know.
Maybe he was ramping. Maybe Trump's the boss and he's afraid of Trump. Have you thought about that one?
Absolutely could be. I'm not trying to argue. I'm just asking, is it just criticism?
Now let me ask you. I love Donald Trump. I will never disagree with Donald Trump. I am with Trump 100%. Now, I want to ask you, though. Martin, you calling from Stewart. Martin County is the most MAGA community in America. What's it like you as this anti-Trumper? Are you in the closet in Stewart? Or are you out of the closet as a Trump hater up there?
Am I not allowed to live in Martin County?
I didn't ask you that. I'm asking you, do you let you're?
Can it sound like?
Well, you don't fit in there. You don't fit in Martin County if you hate Trump.
Okay.
So it's America. You could live wherever you want, but I'm just asking, why would someone who hates Trump live in the most pro Donald Trump community in America, MAGA Martin County?
Where my employer is.
Oh, okay. All right. So you're just there for work. Do people know you're anti-Trump there? Or do you keep it in the closet? You hide it?
I don't really talk politics outside of this show. I do love the show, though.
I can understand that.
Well, you do. Listen, you got a lot of problems, but you do have great taste in radio, I must say. All right, take care. You too. See, he's getting nervous. He's getting nervous, so he was complimenting us so that we would let him go nice. You too. Let me tell you, Martin County. Yeah, I'm up there a lot. My father-in-law lives in Stewart, so I go up there a lot. Steve, when I say it's the most pro-Trump community in America, that is an understatement. I mean, it's beautiful. Our friends, we have friends from other states, and they come. They like, where should we go in Florida? We always tell them Stewart, and there's a couple places we tell them to stay. We had some friends from California, and they call like I can't believe this is they feel like escapees from East Berlin when they come to Florida, in particular Martin County, and it's a pretty cool thing. Now, if you're on hold standby, I want to tell everyone about the MyPillow 2.0. This is the new MyPillow. It's buy one, get one free with our promo code Kane. It has the cooling technology on it. Steve, I hear from listeners all the time telling me how much they love their MyPillow products, the sheets, the slippers, the robes, the mattress topper. I have had more people in the last 2 weeks tell me how much they love the MyPillow 2.0 than I've ever had. It's amazing. I just ordered 2 more. My wife and I, we got 2 for ourselves because it's buy one, get one free. We ordered 2 more for my daughter in California. This cooling technology that's inside the new MyPillow, the MyPillow 2.0 is amazing. Your head and face get hot at night on the pillow. What do? You flip the pillow over to get to the cool side. When you do that, you're interrupting your sleep. You're waking yourself up. You're no longer in REM sleep. With the MyPillow 2.0, you will never flip the pillow over again. It will keep your head, it will keep your face cool and at the perfect temperature all night. One of our listeners, Rome, Wisconsin, called me earlier this week. She said that for years she's woken up and her hair is stuck to her face because she's sweating. She's been sleeping on the MyPillow 2.0 for about a week. For the first time in her adult life, her hair's not stuck to her face when she wakes up in the morning. So go to MyPillow.com, order your MyPillow 2.0. I have all the MyPillows. Those are guest pillows now. We're sleeping on the MyPillow 2.0. You'll do the same. Buy one, get one free at checkout at MyPillow.com when you use our promo code Kane, Kane. Or you can order over the phone toll free, 1-800-716-4879. 1-800-716-4879. Now, I just want to say about the last caller about what's it like being anti-Trump in Martin County. I'm not sure he's really in Martin County. Being a never Trumper in Martin County would be like Pat Robertson living in San Francisco. It's that radical of a different mindset. And I don't know. I don't know if I buy that caller on that, Steve. But I'll tell you this. We uncovered a lot on this program today. And this week has been a week of unanswered questions about Ron DeSantis. This book of his that I'm reading, just very disturbing revelations from Governor DeSantis in chapter 2, starting on page 17 through 19. I've only read I haven't read past page 19 yet. Okay, I've only read up to page 19, and already disturbing questions about Ron DeSantis. And we've had this, and then that bookstore incident earlier this week. And Governor DeSantis, his office still has not responded to the bookstore. Okay. And what I uncovered in chapter 2 of his book, these are questions that have to be asked of him. And I don't think they will. I'm telling you guys, I love DeSantis. He's the greatest governor ever, but the media are giving him a free ride. Okay. Because they want him to get the nomination, not Trump. And then all these things we're talking about will be pulled out, and they'll start to go after him and destroy him then. But it's been a great week, everyone. If you're on hold, I'm sorry, we're out of time, but we'll be back Monday morning. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. I'm Brian Craig. Steve Kane, of course, has been here. And don't forget, if you miss a portion of the show, go to our radio station website, trueoldiesfla.com. Each day, about an hour after the show, the entire show is uploaded as a podcast, and it's archived up there forever. trueoldiesfla.com. Well, Steve, this has been a hot week. There's more news out there than we can. I didn't even get to my stack of stuff or any of my audio sound bites today. All that, there's that hours and hours of show prep I did before the show was a waste of time. I didn't even use it because, well, these revelations we brought up.
Coming in handy next week.
That'll be old. We'll have new news by then. All right, everyone. God bless America and God bless Donald Trump. All right, guys, I got to run. Thanks for watching. Like the video before you go.